Tirelai, relai, relai, tirararado. Tirelai, relai, relai, tirararado. Tirararirarado. Viboinu oilum mem yudati, yudati, yudati. Ki hineni beyadchu, beyadchu, beyadchu levad. Beyadchu levad. Ki hineni beyadchu, beyadchu, beyadchu levad. Kach oimer beyad, beyad ayotzai.
Ay riboinu elomem yudati, yudati, yudati. Hineni beyadchu, beyadchu, beyadchu levad. Hineni beyadchu, beyadchu, beyadchu levad. Kach oimer beyad, beyad ayotzai. Ay veim gam esamayt beyaytsoyz vesach biloyz vesach biloyz. Chol yosh vaysay vayam dilimini lehoshi ayni velismoy nafshi. Mi balad vavadai, mi balada yischu veyezraschu. Ein ezru v'yeshiu. Ein ezru v'yeshiu. Ahayri boilu oilu mim yudati, yudati, yudati. Ki hineni beyadchu, beyadchu, beyadchu levad. Ki hineni beyadchu, beyadchu, beyadchu levad. Kach oimer beyad, beyad ayotzai. Nohoy veim gam esamayt beyaytzoyz vesach biloyz, vesach biloyz. V'chol yosh vaysay vayam dilimini loshi ayni velismoch nafshi. Mi balad vavadai, mi balada yischu veyezraschu. Ein ezru v'yeshiu. Ein ezru v'yeshiu. Viboinu oilum mem yudati, yudati, yudati. Hineni beyadchu, beyadchu, beyadchu levad. Ki hineni beyadchu, beyadchu, beyadchu levad. Kach oimer beyad, beyad ayotzai. Ay veim gam esamayt beyaytzoyz vesach biloyz, vesach biloyz. B'chol yosh vaysay vayam dilimini loshi ayni velismoch nafshi. Mi balad vavadai, mi balada yischu veyezraschu. Ein ezru v'yeshiu. Ein ezru v'yeshiu. Ahayri boilu oilu mim yudati, yudati, yudati. Ki hineni beyadchu, beyadchu, beyadchu levad. Ki hineni beyadchu, beyadchu, beyadchu levad. Kach oimer beyad, beyad ayotzai. Oy veim gam esamayt beyaytzoyz vesach biloyz, vesach biloyz. V'chol yosh say Maryam Dilimini Oshiyani velismoich nafshi Mi baladai Mi baladai ischu v'yezraschu Ein ezru v'yishiyu Ein ezru v'yishiyu
warfare. This is not just economic warfare. It's not just chemical warfare. We're all involved in the spiritual warfare.
The rate that these these edits is coming out is pretty insane. I saw some Northman clips in that. I'm glad that's getting repurposed. So yeah, we got Spudhunter. I'm of two minds on JF, because on the one hand he totally did kill a Spud. I mean I don't know what other explanation there is. No one's been able to provide one. Even himself, he's like gone through step by step. If I did it, like how he would do it. So there's that side, the murderer side. But then there's the other side, which is that he's unironically really funny. Some of his insane insemination tweets are like all-time greats, I think. He's just so dedicated to the game. And there's an old recording I made. I guess it's 2 years old, because I made it right after I made it right after Alora disappeared. That's just me talking to two bums on the side of the 5 freeway, and we go over JF's history, and then we just listen to his interview with Dick Masterson and talk about it. I know, it's evergreen 2-year-old recording content, but I might actually re-upload that to this channel, especially with all this stuff now with this interview with the ex-girlfriend. And at first I thought this was like one of the old ex-girlfriends, like before Laura, because he's obviously had multiple Mama JFs, but apparently this is one he's had since, like in the last 2 years, who he somehow got on side, inseminated, and then lost within like a year. And obviously, like, you got to take everything she says with a grain of salt. I haven't seen the interview yet. I've kind of spoiled myself a little bit because I happened to see his response on Twitter that goes over some of it. Apparently, there's even crazier things in there. We'll see how reliable she sounds. Obviously, she has, like, every incentive to do this, being, like, a nobody, even with, like, a child involved. So I'm not going to just automatically believe everything she says. But the problem is it's her word against an almost certainly murderer, which is tough. And, he does have the killer's bounty, as he said in the Dick Masterson interview. So, yeah, I'll probably re-upload that recording. It's kind of weird. It's literally me, like, next to a highway talking to two bums about JF. But, I guess it's a good primer if you don't have the whole story. It's one thing the other product doesn't do. I don't get it, because they always talk about how, like, we don't remember the details about any of this, but we're going to talk shit about it. And we don't actually know what we're talking about. But, back when it happened, we did. Well, you'll get the rundown, I guess, when I have to edit it just a little bit, but when I re-upload it. But before we get into the JS stuff, I'm going to do the boring stuff first. So everybody get ready for class, because we are doing, we're doing, I said on Monday I'd do media literacy, so I'm just going to do it right at the outset while I have it all put together. We're going to do media literacy, what is this, 4? And this is about a superhero movie. And my original plan for media literacy 4 was I was going to do the Superman movie and then comparing it with Fantastic Four. Because even though I haven't seen either of them, like, I wasn't going to pay for fucking theater tickets. I don't pay for any movies. You should pirate everything. Pirate every video game, pirate every movie. Don't get a job, do nothing, steal everything, okay? Take welfare, whatever. Anyway, my plan was, without having seen the movies, I had already come up with, it's like the perfect thing. It's exactly what these media literacy guys do. You go into the movie with the thesis, right? And so my thesis was going to be about how, especially the Fantastic Four movie, because it had all this ideation of the 60s, and, a lot of progressives have this rose-tinted glasses of the 60s, thinking that if only they had kept things on board, they were going to, like, lead us to the utopia or whatever. But I was going to go into it and basically say that the movie was about, like, progressive nostalgia for the 60s. But I never ended up watching it. I never ended up pirating it. Just because I couldn't even bring myself to do that, to like, spend any time on superhero movies. The thing that finally made me to go back and watch Cape Shit was a 12-hour flight. Was the flight back from Europe. I was just so bored. I had nothing to do. And hypothesis? Well, yeah. But that's not how they present it. That's the joke. That's how the media literacy people are, is they go into it with a thesis. They, like, already formed. It's not a hypothesis. That's why that's the whole joke behind the media literacy thing is, if you don't come out of every movie thinking it's about capitalism, you just don't have media literacy. So, I was going to apply the same logic there. Go into this movie just based off its aesthetics with the thesis that it's about progressive nostalgia for the 60s, and then, pick the parts that prove it. This is like the whole problem with, like, critical theory of art. You'd watch Bollywood before I'd watch, yeah. So anyway, I'm stuck on this 11-hour flight back, and they have Thunderbolts, which is one of the new Marvel movies, that totally bombed. And the reason it totally bombed is because everybody thought that you had to watch a bunch of shows to understand what was happening. You didn't. I pretty much got what was happening. You didn't really need. I know that all the characters in it apparently were established in shows that nobody watched, but you didn't really need to see them to understand it. And then, of course, the other, like, sleight of hand is at the end they're announced the new Avengers, which was a bomb for two reasons. First of all, because they waited to reveal that until you'd already bought the ticket to the movie. number one. And then they did this embarrassing thing where then they had to change all the posters to the movie to put New Avengers on it to try to get people to go see it after they didn't. And so the two problems with that is, again, you have to have already bought the ticket to know that. And then number two, no one cares about the Avengers. And like, no one cares about any of this anymore. It's like the problem, the reason why people aren't seeing these movies is not because they don't have Avengers on them, obviously. It's because they're just not, like, they weren't amazing to begin with, but they scratched, like, I guess, a very specific itch, and they don't do that anymore. So anyway, on to Media Literacy 4. So what's kind of interesting about this movie, Thunderbolts, and I'll just, you can watch the trailer over and over again with no sound while I'm talking about this, is basically this movie is about a bunch of losers who have been totally screwed over by all of the like official institutions around them and have all done terrible things. And they're all forced to work together to survive. Now, I've talked about in a previous media literacy segment about how, especially in film, and this is general art movements, but it's especially pronounced in film, you had like a modernist period, which is obviously still, post-religion, it's post-spiritual. This is in like, the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, where good and evil exist. They just, nobody can explain why. And I brought up an example of this High Noon, and, you have the man of action who's usually defending an institution like the government, exercising power, and the bad guy's just like a bandit or something. And so this is just the general boomer outlook where they do believe that good and evil exists, but they refuse to assign any like transcendental source to it. And because of that, usually just defaults to the government, essentially. And it usually leans on institutions and ultimately just comes down to some activists like killing for these institutions. Now, people eventually realized that was retarded, as I think most people would agree. But ultimately, the conclusion without any transcendental source to good and evil is that you just think it doesn't exist. Good and evil doesn't exist. Nothing matters. All the institutions are corrupt. They don't care about good and evil. They're all purely like materialist entities working for their own benefit. The problem is if you then that's like the postmodern conclusion. And, I brought up in the Northman media literacy about how it's sort of an interesting line because it's almost to like where back around again to like believing in a transcendental truth because you're starting to realize that the world is only going to fail you. But it doesn't go all the way. And so it like fails to answer very basic questions about why you should really act any certain way. And so ultimately it comes down to, if you like, you're in this postmodern outlook, like a lot of people are now, a lot of movies are now, even Marvel movies. Like, it sounds ridiculous I'm talking about this for a Marvel movie, but this movie has it. And the Avengers movies have it too. They don't really talk about good and evil. They talk about like, guy trying to destroy Earth, so I guess he's evil, and then the guy punches him till he stops being evil, right? This movie's a lot more postmodernist, where, it has the CIA that's super corrupt. You have Bucky here, who's trying to be the congressman on the inside to reform the institutions, but he learns that that's like pointless. I'm sure you've heard all these things before, both on the right and left, because they're both kind of agree with things like that. But it gets down to this ultimate problem, which is like, how do you justify even like existing? Like, how do you not fall to despair, right? And so in this movie, you have this like group of superheroes. Not all of them are really even super. I mean, I don't think, I think some of them are just, well, I guess they're super, whatever. And they've all been taken advantage of by the CIA. They're basically all feds, and then the CIA is going to like liquidate them. And so they're forced to basically work with each other to survive. And the question this whole movie basically is trying to answer is like, why should you not fall to despair? Like, why does anything matter at all? And because it refuses to submit itself to a redeemer, it can't answer the question of redemption. Because like the whole point here is that how do these characters redeem themselves without a redeemer? And there isn't really an answer, unfortunately. So you have them survive, and there's this guy, Bob, who has, at first you think he has no, I know, he's literally called Bob. This is like the joke. It's, it's like it's like a quip type humor. And he has no powers. Bob has no powers, but ultimately he ends up being the most powerful because he's like a CIA fed MK Ultra type experiment. Again, you have this stuff where like all the institutions fail. And he's literally just bipolar, like canonically bipolar. And because he's bipolar, when he's like on his high, he thinks he's a god. And when he's on his low, he falls to despair. And again, this movie's trying to answer the question of like, in a world where you can't trust any institutions, where there is no good and evil, nothing matters, how do you actually justify continuing your existence? This is like the Stranger Camus stuff. Except at least Camus got one step higher than this movie. At least Camus was like, oh, well, you just have to basically psyop yourself into believing in God. This movie can't go to that extent because of obviously who makes it. And the result of not coming to that conclusion, this movie literally ends on a hug. The way this Bob guy who falls into his depressive spiral, but is like the most powerful entity in the universe. So obviously that's bad when he's depressed. The way he's redeemed is by them all hugging. And then they all hug, he stops being depressed, and then they rejoin the CIA. Like, who just betrayed them and everything. They submit to the institution. And, you know, I guess what the movie's trying to say is now they're the ones with the cards over the institution. The problem is you can't have a whole movie about how, like, the institutions are corrupt and then think you're going to be the one to reform them, right? It's like it's a half measure that the movie itself seems to disprove. But again, all of this comes down to an issue that a lot of art now, this postmodern art has now, where they recognize this issue of like this existential issue, where if nothing matters, there is no good and evil. It's like, why even live? But they're unwilling to submit to any higher power to like justify that. And in this movie, it's specifically they want redemption without a redeemer. The reason why they all hug at the end is because Bob, Mr. Superpowered Bipolar Man, essentially has all this childhood trauma. They all have done bad stuff. They all have trauma, whatever. And he doesn't know how to deal with it, right? So the way it's pitched to deal with it is, we'll all deal with it together, whatever that means. And he's seeking redemption. They're all seeking redemption. That's very clearly subtext of this whole movie, is they're all fuck-ups and they all want redemption. But they're unwilling to submit to a redeemer. And at a certain point when Bob is on his manic episode, right before he's depressive, he calls himself a god because he has power. And then it fails, right? Because to be God, you have to be more than just powerful. You can't just be physically superior. You have to be morally superior. And this gets into the, like, to have redemption, you need a redeemer thing. And I think the reason why, like, a lot of postmodern people are unwilling to kind of take this next step is because it requires humility, it requires restraint, and it ultimately requires submission, potentially even to an institution like a church or a belief system that would basically make them actually like sacrifice something. Maybe the way they act, maybe things they find acceptable. It's not just like laissez-faire or whatever. And the way the movie kind of misidentifies this problem of seeking redemption is it wraps it up in the whole concept of mental health. Now, obviously, there are like mental health pathologies, there's bipolar, there's stuff that exists. But when you conflate like mental health problems with the problem of evil or like sin, because not everyone in this movie is bipolar. Just the one character is. Like, everybody else is just a fuck up, just like anybody, right? And when you misidentify it with mental health, you're pathologizing sin. You think that sin is something that can just be solved by like by a diagnosis or by some kind of procedural innovation, and it's just incomplete. Like you need some kind of morally perfect or morally superior being, like God, or like like in Christianity it's Jesus, to actually be the redeemer if you want redemption. And that's why, like, I think while this movie is definitely, like, I'm not mad, like I don't think it was a waste of my time. I understand why it's getting better than normal reviews for these latest Marvel movies that are total disasters. I'd say the first 2/3 is pretty good. It's pretty simple. It's just like four idiots in a hole trying to escape. Like just trying to survive, right? That's fine. That's fine for an action movie like this. It falls apart though at the end, where it's like it's building this syllogism of logic of like, okay, how do we deal with like, why do we exist if nothing matters? And then it just doesn't give you an answer. And it would be less bad if the movie didn't open on a literal scene with Black Widow 2, which is what this lady is, kind of talking about dealing with her despair and looking for a solution. And then the movie doesn't provide one by the end. The solution at the end is, like I said, a group hug. Unironically, that is how the movie ends. That is how the despair is conquered, is a group hug. And like a generic line about how, well, you know, whatever our problems is, we'll face them together. As if them all being imperfect together is enough for like redemption. No, it requires like it requires something that's perfect to redeem imperfection. So like I'll give this movie like a 5, which is like really good for these Marvel movies, because I do think that it's the only one that I was willing to watch, even if it took a 12-hour flight. But I do find it kind of emblematic of this general philosophical like stun lock that a lot of this art has, where they're recognizing this problem in youth now, and like not just youth, but people in general, where they're seeking meaning. They can't answer the problem of despair. Things don't seem to be getting better, but it doesn't actually philosophically satisfying. Shouldn't require like a degree to understand. It should be immediately apparent when you encounter it, especially when simplified in a movie like this. The other thing I wanted to do is go through the reviews here, because some of the reviews highlight what I'm talking about, just from like going over them briefly. And most of them are positive. Like I said, this movie did get pretty good reviews. I don't think they're entirely undeserved. Like I said, the first 2/3 of the movie is pretty good for like a simple Marvel, guys fighting, punching each other movie, whatever, I guess. But it's just this conversation around this movie and like mental health that kind of made me want to talk about it, because beyond the fact that the main problem character, that's the bad guy at the end, is clearly like more than just despair. It's like he's bipolar. The fact that they think the solution for all the other characters who are all like losers and depressed or like have done bad things is just this broad sense of like idea of mental health, or we'll hug it out. I think it really highlights, why I think people are, there's statistics saying people returning to religion. I don't know how true any of that is. It's kind of, I'm very distrustful of most statistics, because what you learn is that you can kind of find statistics for anything. But there's definitely like a cultural psychic moment that's been occurring the last like 10 years, where people are starting to realize that being like a Rick and Morty cynical, nothing matters, atheist nihilist doesn't actually make your life any better or solve any of these problems. So they're trying to go past that, but they're unwilling at the very end of the day to actually admit that there might be like a higher power that would create such meaning. So it fights depression, trauma, and isolation. How does it fight it? Again, this is the problem, is it doesn't fight it. It doesn't give you the answer at the end. And for anyone who would say like, oh, well, you just want it to be a Christian movie. Yes, I do. Like, yeah, I would want it to be a Christian movie. But, let's be a little more reasonable. I think that even being able to give a better answer than just hugging it out would be better. Like even the sort of mid-century theism that won't say God, that won't say Christ, but admits like a higher power, like a lot of those movies in like the 70s are like that, would be better than this. In many ways, Thunderbolts feels like a superhero in its own right, delivering a powerful PSA. What is the PSA? Let's look here. What did they say the PSA? But none have tackled mental health. How do you tackle like some of the language around this? It's just so like it doesn't satisfy you, right? Tackling mental health. First of all, they hug, right? Second of all, like no one's mental health issue, like this guy's pathology is not treated by the end, which is like he's bipolar, and these people's depression, their depression is solved by joining the CIA and becoming the new Avengers. So what? That's the solution, is get promoted. Again, like the movie goes to such efforts to explain that these problems, like there's an entire speech at the beginning of the movie where Black Widow 2 is like, I have a good job, I get paid a lot, I'm good at it, and yet I'm still unsatisfied. I still can't like get over these bad things I've done, or like essentially sin or whatever. So like that obviously isn't enough of the answer. This is as fresh as it gets. I don't know about that. Hits its message squarely on the mark. Could that message have been louder or more? You see, how is this a feature review when it keeps talking about the PSA, the message, and then doesn't give it? Explicate your thesis, lady. That's the first rule of media literacy. At least say it's about capitalism. Come on. Thunderbolts doesn't fight monsters. It fights depression, trauma, and that's the one I just read. Sorry. Sincerity. For a long time, yes, this movie did come off as more sincere than normal for these Marvel. That's not saying a lot. It still felt kind of focus groupy with the whole mental health thing, but it's hard not to be more sincere than these movies usually are. This movie rectified that. Depression, suicidal ideation, apathy, yes, despair. There's one word for all this. It's called despair. The church fathers figured it out 2,000 years ago. And all of it was kept there without trying to make you turn away or think of, well, there's a lot of jokes in there. As you think through the agony on Yelena's face, that's her name, I forgot. I'm just calling her Black Widow too. Seeing how much her past affects her. See, this is what I mean. Like, the main character isn't bipolar. She's just depressed because of, like, past sin, right? And this is why, like the title for this is going to be, like, Thunderbolt's Redemption Without a Redeemer. And that's why, like, it's a mutilated victory at the end. That's why it's not satisfying at the end. Because to have redemption, you need a redeemer. And a true redeemer must be more than just physically perfect. They have to be morally perfect. And the movie does not present a redeemer. It just presents the promise of future redemption if we all hug long enough. Absolute banger with a strong message within. More enjoyable. Yeah, like the 2/3, the stuff that's just focused on them escaping it's not a prison, but like the box is the best part of the movie because it doesn't really play in anything more. I think this is probably one of the most, if not the most humane movie, filled with following their anti-hero being flawed, broken, and regretful. Yeah, but the point of having a flawed, broken, and regretful character is to see how they're redeemed. And when that doesn't happen, like, redemption is more than just beating the bad guy. Right? That's not... Okay. She's the star. Yeah, I mean, I think she did a pretty good performance. I thought she was really bad in Oppenheimer, but she was not bad in this. Good, but not... Oh, see, we already got the revisionism here. And whenever I read review, this is kind of what motivated me to do these these media literacy moments, because even within the subsect of like critics that all have the same worldview, they all have the same premises, they'll like squabble over stupidities that don't matter, like philosophically, like even the guys who are supposedly they're not on the outside anymore. You know, like Critical Drinker is the perfect example. You know, where he's the truth, like that's how he presents himself. I'm not saying he is, but like, oh, the message, and I'll tell you what they won't. Like, he still is fundamentally, like, his philosophical background for looking at these is completely the same as all of these guys making them, because he already was in the industry. He wrote his like books that didn't sell and all that shit. Overpraising, which is a solid movie, but is hardly amazing. If it had come during the MCU's glory days, it would have felt like a solidly average movie, but it would be okay. I'm gonna have to point this out. Thor 1 was terrible. The first Thor movie was fucking shit. It was one of the worst of them. I would not put it against, or Black Panther. Oh, is this person talking shit about, oh, this person's racist. Wait, can we respond to these? I miss the old IMDb. Do you guys remember how IMDb used to be before it was bought by Amazon? It had a forum. Yeah, a full-on forum. If it was still like that, I would make a fake account right now and give some funny responses to these reviews. But you just can't do it anymore. They don't let you. Yeah, look, yeah, you can't do responses. That's tough. The Marvel movie I didn't know I needed. This is what I mean, is I think that they are tapping into a real thing, like a real psychic phenomenon now, which is that even dumb people have sort of gotten to the end of the postmodern rope, where they're like, okay, wubba lubba dub dub, nothing matters. When do I start to feel better? Like, you know what I mean? Like, when do I start to be cool? Like, when do my problems start getting solved? And then they don't. Manson is yeah, he is. After a string of recent disappointments, and the problem is that, like, they get to the end of that rope and it ultimately leads one place, which is that, oh, if I'm going to find meaning, it has to come from an outside like my existence must be formed by an outside intelligence, and if that's true, it must be both morally and physically, like materially perfect, and if so, then I should probably do what it says, and that would require restraint and submission. And like I said, not even necessarily in a Christian sense. Obviously, there are other theistic religions. That's the one I would prefer as Christianity. But what I mean by that is, a lot of these people also want to hold on to the whole laissez-faire, do whatever you want as long as you're, law and aggression principle, like whether they call it that or not type stuff. The problem is the minute you acknowledge a higher power, that's the first step to acknowledging that there might be things that you want to do that you shouldn't. And a lot of these people are stuck in the outlook that we're all on this earth just to coom, just to feel good. It's even kind of in this movie where they kind of don't have the language to describe the problem of like evil, the problem of Inui, where they're just like, I should be happy, but I don't feel happy, as if like that's all existence is feeling happy. And you know, that's why like like reviews like this that say like, oh, it really resonated with me, the mental health stuff. I think this movie is a part of a lot of movies that have come out recently. This is just that are kind of on the end of this postmodern rope. This is just one that is actually in the mainstream, I guess, even though it didn't do well. Not a catastrophe. Oh, okay, here we go. It is what it is. Yeah, basically. Feastival. Okay. Fiestival. I'm a Marvel fan. I hate this. This is such a Redditor move. Is whenever you criticize something, you have to say at the beginning, don't worry, guys, I may be critical, but I'm part of the like the Marvel youth, the Hitler Marvel youth. So this is criticism from the in-group, right? And was their prime target group during the Infinity Saga. I'm not hating on it. Please. This film is not that special. IMO. Sure, it is a deeper meaning and nice. What is it? What is the deeper meaning and nice message? Please show your work. But it was executed very poorly. Hell, it wasn't even a Thunderbolts film, but more a Florence Pugh solo movie. Well, that's called The Protagonist. It's having a protagonist to the movie. It's generally a good idea to do that. She's my favorite act. Florence Pugh is your favorite act, like, in general? All the other characters were just there. Is this what these people were called? Okay. One cool scene and the rest is just generic, not funny Marvel. Is this a parody review? Just like, sorry, but there was too much talk about mental health and not enough quips. I guess this is, it's funny because this movie failed, that's the conclusion they're going to come to. It's not going to be because they totally fucked up the marketing. It's not going to be because of like all these movies suck recently, so why the fuck would you see them? The conclusion they're totally going to come to is going to be, damn, this movie was too deep, even though it's not deep, right? It needed more quips. So the scene where friends can get you out of darkness makes, well, see, this person, okay, true. This is true. Okay, wait, no. This late stage Redditor are, they're kind of coming to the same conclusion I did. It makes literally no sense. Why do they care for him? Seconds ago, Exactly. This is why you need a morally perfect redeemer. Because only a morally perfect redeemer can take someone who was terrorizing New York seconds ago and still redeem them. This is why you cannot have redemption without a redeemer. It can't just be a bunch of people who were just fighting each other 2 seconds ago hugging. And of course is the ending, why are they the new Avenger? Okay, well that was... Yeah, I mean, my problem is that the whole movie is kind of takes that postmodern position of all institutions being corrupt and self-interested, and they get fucked over by the CIA, and then they just join at the end. They're just like, sure, but you know, you'll be working for us now, right? It's not a bad film, and not the example. That's the other thing I like is the way people rate. So I gave it like a 5. 5 is like the maximum I think I'd ever really give a Marvel movie. Because to me, 5 is you completed the very basic elements of a film. Like there's nothing deficient. Which is why I kind of consider giving it a 4. Because like I said, I think the ending, like it doesn't close. It doesn't close the thesis. But the problem is that the thesis is flawed to begin with from a philosophical point of view. And it wouldn't be really fair to dock the entire movie as like a product for that. The MCU pulled me back in and I wasn't expecting it. Walked into the theater with rock bottom expectations. I really liked it. Really liked it. It hit me emotionally. The true meaning of... So the way you deal with postmodern existential Inui is to hug it out with the bros and join the feds. Yeah. That's what happens when that's the way to see the true redeemer was the CIA all along the way. Is the Marvel bar now so low? Should the slot be graded on a curve? Yeah. Unlike Brave New World, which I will be watching on what? Like Brave New World, like the like Aldous Huxley? There must have been a Marvel movie called that. Remember when movies... Well, there are still good movies, and there are still subtle movies. They're just not Marvel movies. Like, good movies do still come out. You just got to look for them. Go watch from Nosferatu. The third act is very risky. Okay, wait, let's read this. The third act is very risky. We were coming off the Captain America movie where, thanks to the power of the script, he was able to face Red Hulk. Here, the power of the script, he was able to face Red. What does this sentence mean? Why does the script need power to make one fictional, like, superhero fight another? Here, at first glance, it seems that the power of friendship was resolved. Yeah, that is kind of what it is. Is the catharsis of acceptance. See, this doesn't work either. Because you can't accept him destroying the city. That was the whole point, is that you have to deal with you have to deal with the problem of despair. You have to convince him that life is worth living so he doesn't end it for everyone else. And the way they do that is literally the power of friendship. The problem is they spent the whole movie talking about how all these characters are also flawed and also imperfect. Which again is why you need a higher tier, a redeemer, to redeem all of them. I didn't miss the blows or epic battles. Anyone who has suffered from deep depression knows that no matter how hard you fight and try day after day against that emptiness that drags you down, often only those around you know that you are more than the shadow you appear to be. Dude, this is some Cold Steel the Hedgehog shit. Accepting your condition, accepting that trying to overcome it has never... So just give up, got it. But rather, on the contrary... Okay. So, this whole, like, depression thing, like, learning how to live with depression thing, again, this comes, again, to the idea that you need a redeemer. Because to have a creator, to submit to the idea that there is a higher power that created you, also submits the idea you exist for a reason, which means your life is not yours to take. Again, all of this still acknowledges, like, an outside power, an outside good that is morally superior to you. It's not your random guy friends you smoke pot with every day, which is what this sounds like. When you're like this, you realize that embracing it and seeking help, what does that look like? To reach that embrace what is this? And the only thing that can save you. Yeah, catharsis of acceptance sounds like a Godwinson Scream title. Oh boy, I'm gonna put that one in the bank, man. That's a good one. If there's ever... Okay, when PPP finally comes out of the closet, because he's, like, forced out, right? We're going to call that stream the catharsis of acceptance, and I'll cite you, because that depression is a part of you, and instead of trying to beat it down, the best thing is to accept it. Dude, this is why guys like this need to have a higher power, because it's like, bro, you were made for a reason. You were made like with a plan. God had a plan. It's not to just smoke weed and be depressed all day. Maybe I'm overanalyzing this last part, but it really seems... No, you're not overanalyzing it, because, like, you can analyze anything to death. What do you think this segment is? But this conclusion is kind of my whole point. I'm glad we read this, because this whole conclusion is exactly why this movie fails to, like... Why, when in like the postmodern premises... If you don't eventually get out of them by accepting the existence of God, you just end up here. This is the final stop on the train. And this doesn't sound like a great way to live. This doesn't sound like solving the problems that were posited by the worldview. Even at the end, we have time for the writers to show us an effective way to limit a character's power. Not with the class. That is true. Okay, the idea that... Okay, so the idea that you have a superhero who has unlimited power, like he's like, he's like omnipotent or whatever, but he isn't OP because he's just, like, insane. He's just bipolar is kind of funny. If I unleash my power, I'll unleash that monster. Simply brilliant. Okay, who cares? Whatever. Fizzles into fantasy fluff. Brave New World is a Marvel movie where Black Captain America fights Harrison. Damn. The last Marvel movie I think I watched was Endgame. So I'm way out of fucking... I don't know what's going on over there. Your last stream was Kino. Is this the media? This is the media. I'm getting the boring stuff over right now, and then we're going to jump right into Spudhunter, okay? Just because I promised I'd do media literacy. Thunderbolts, here's a 5. Let's see what they don't like. Okay, this is like an AI written review. This is an AI review, okay. Up their game. Okay, oh, this is the one I wanted to read. Kicks off strong with a fun, gritty energy as a ragtag. Yeah, this is actually the part I like. The first half, yep, takes a strange turn. The teen ends up fighting an unbeatable Superman-like clone named Bob. Yes, Bob, using the power of French. So yeah, this is more succinctly, and this is sort of like the bell curve, like the low IQ and the high, well, I wouldn't say I'm high IQ, but like just for meme purposes. Ours agree, and then the midwit is like, this is amazing. This started as a grounded, edgy action film movie, shifts into something abstract and soft, like filler meant to. So I don't think it was like I said, I think the abstract stuff is trying to answer a real thing that is occurring culturally. It just can't do it. I want to see the Punisher to see if it's as base as I think it is in my head. Haven't they tried doing the Punisher like 3 times? Lawrence Pugh was the best thing in... Did they make a Black Widow movie? Damn, I'm so out of fucking... I don't even know. That's my new rule, by the way. This has been my rule for a while, is only to watch superhero movies on airplanes. You know what was... Okay, do you know what movie I actually enjoyed watching? Because I watched it alongside this one. Aquaman 2. I'm going to say it right now. I'm an Aquaman head. I love both those movies. They're fucking slop. But what I love is that the art department just went crazy. I love jellyfish dress. I love underwater tank mechs. I like crab army. I like undead underwater army. I like trident lasers. I like undersea mass driver sonic cannon. I like Black Manta, like 50s tier goon costumes. I like, for some reason, unironically portraying monarchy as an effective form of government in a movie in 2025 through Atlantis. I like the Aquaman movies. I like all like in the first movie they had the 5 armies and they all have different art styles and like weapons. Like whoever was coming up with that shit just went crazy. And like that storyline is ridiculous, and Jason Momoa is like, it's like a joke, but I don't know. I love those movies. They're just Kino. I like, yeah, this stream just got 100% more out to it. Yeah, don't watch Thunderbolts and get a mutilated philosophy. Abandon philosophy entirely and watch Aquaman, Kino. Watch the jellyfish, watch Amber Heard in a jellyfish dress watching Jason Momoa and his brother fight for the rightful crown of Atlantis. And that's how we're going to end the media literacy segment. Okay, one more boring thing, and then we'll go into Spudhunter. Now, I know you guys are all really interested in constitutional law. Now, don't worry, okay? Stay with me here. Only one of these clips is boring law shit. 2 of them are just funny. So right now, the Supreme Court is seeing a challenge to Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. Basically, Voting Rights Act declared that certain states have to apply certain different rules when creating voting law. Now you'd think, doesn't that violate the Constitution's full faith and credit clause for different states? Shh. In the 60s, we just rewrote the entire Constitution, guys. So anyway, a Voting Rights Act basically says certain states have to apply different rules for the way that they do voting. They draw voting districts. Anytime, it used to be that anytime they passed any law that was related to voting, they had to get it approved. That got overturned in 2013 in Shelby v. Holder. Alaska used to be one of those states, as crazy as it sounds. Anyway, so this is all getting challenged, and the long and the short of it is basically, in the South, which is solidly Republican, you have entire voting districts that only exist so that there are black majority voting districts for political reasons. Essentially because black people are considered a protected class, which means that they have extra rights that other people don't. They're not the only protected class. Again, you'd think all of this violates the 14th Amendment, like due process, but due process apparently only applies when you're aborting a child and getting gay married. It doesn't apply when it comes to like actual racial like cartelism. And like I said, so the argument here is how, like ultimately the argument comes down here is, if the only reason this voting district would exist is because of race, how is this not a race-based voting district? And if it is, that obviously violates the Constitution. So I'm going to play the two funny ones first, and then post the not. Well, I'll post this one first, actually, because listen to this one. So this is base Clarence Thomas. Oh, I love Clarence Thomas because, first of all, despite being a black man, he believes in compact theory, which is the literal legal theory that the Confederacy used to justify seceding from the Union. Number two, because he barely talks in these oral arguments, he just asks very basic questions and then gets like very good answers. So this is him just getting straight to the heart of why the VRA is retarded.
What role did Robinson play in the development of SB 8?
So Robinson is the AG, is the one that forced them to create a new black district.
Justice Thomas, Robinson is the only reason SB 8 exists. We fought tooth and nail in the Robinson litigation itself in telling the courts that we did not think the Constitution permitted us to draw a second majority black district. As you know, under protest, we drew SB 8 because the threat was that the federal courts were going to do it if we didn't. And that's, I mean, I think that's the best way to conceive of why SB 8 exists. We would never pass SB 8 in the first instance without Robinson, Justice Thomas.
What were the findings in Robinson?
The finding by
So first premise, and this is why Clarence is doing it this way. First premise, why is there a second district? Answer, because of A.G. Robinson. Question two, why did Robinson say there need, like what were his findings that justified a second district?
by the middle district in Robinson was that the plaintiffs in this case were likely to show a violation of Section 2, and the likely violation, and I'm using very broad terminology because I do not know what the underlying violation is. I can't articulate that.
Section 2 is the one that says you can't discriminate based off race in voting districts, and it's extremely broad. And one of the reasons that are in there for a reason you can say is just general circumstances. So what they do is they always cite general circumstances and then cite Day was racist in the 60s as their reason.
For you, Justice Thomas, because I don't think anybody can. But I think the finding in the district court's mind in that case was that the likelihood of a Section 2 violation meant that a majority black district was required, a second one. And I think like that was the bottom line. And when our legislature saw that, we understood the marching order, and that's why you see SB 8 as it exists today.
Just briefly, what were the findings that led to that?
So again, he asks, okay, so he had findings that said that Section 2 would be violated, that there would be dilution of votes from a protected class, black people. Again, when I say that the Civil Rights Act literally created a tiered class system in the U.S., I'm not kidding. If you are considered a protected class, which means to say, like eventually it would mean woman, disabled, black, you unironically have more rights and consideration than otherwise, and this is one of them. And so he's saying, so what were the actual findings?
Conclusion.
Well, Your Honor, running through the preconditions and the totality of the circumstances.
Totality of the circumstances. That's what I was referring to. That's one of the factors is, quote, totality of the, which can mean things as wide a field as Day was racist in the 60s to anything.
I mean, I think the totality of the circumstances did most of the work for the Middle District in Robinson. Senate Factor 1, the official history of past discrimination. Justice Thomas, we can never outrun the bad era of poll taxes, of grandfather clauses, of literacy tests. I think we're always going to lose across the board on that kind of analysis, and that's what the Middle District in Robinson focused on, is how bad was...
Yeah, so what he's saying here is, yeah, so they basically just cited poll taxes from 60 years ago as justifying another all-black specific carve-out district.
Louisiana in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and, add all that together, and at the end you have a vote dilution finding that I don't think is clearly articulable in the way that SF...
Yeah, and it can't be described at all. So, okay, that's the substantive one. I'm not going to get into the whole history of the VRA. If you really want me to go over, like, this part of it, like what voter dilution is, I guess say, but who cares about this? I just want to play the part where Jackson says that black people are disabled.
Fact that I guess I'm thinking of it.
Why should the illiterate be able to vote? I think a lot of people shouldn't be able to vote. I agree with restricting. I agree with the general principle of restricting the franchise. Exactly what that would look like, we can argue about, but anything would be better than what we have now as far as restricting it.
Of the fact that remedial action, absent discriminatory intent, is really not a new idea in the civil rights laws.
So what she literally just said there. So when she said remedial action, she means new carve-out district for black people, okay? So she's saying, and remember, the VRA, the whole point of it was to stop voting discrimination based off race. So she would just said, we can do a remedial action without discrimination. So this law that was created to remediate discrimination, no, we can do the remedies without even approving discrimination.
And my kind of paradigmatic example of this is something like the ADA. Congress passed the Americans with Disabilities Act against the backdrop of a world that was generally not accessible to people with disabilities.
So yeah, black people are disabled.
And so it was discriminatory in effect because these folks were not able to access these buildings. And it didn't matter whether the person who built the building or the person who owned the building.
Should I even respond? Okay, Miss Jackson. The ADA is not the VRA. It's about access. It's not about voting. Like, it's a totally different thing. Like, what?
Intended for them to be exclusionary. That's irrelevant. Congress said the facilities have to be made equally open to people with disabilities if readily possible. I guess I don't understand why that's not what's happening here.
Because one of them deals with physical disabilities and a law that's specifically dealing with that, and the other one deals with political discrimination. What the fuck? But yeah, she calls black people, she's basically saying they're all in wheelchairs, I guess. Here's the other one.
I don't understand why your answer to Justice Kagan's question about, is this a compelling state interest, is...
Okay, compelling state interest. So basically, the way it used to work is that the Constitution said what the government could do and what it couldn't do. Then, in the early 1900s, specifically around FDR and the New Deal, this new doctrine called strict scrutiny got invented that says that actually you can violate the Constitution just under the terms of, quote, strict scrutiny. What's one of the contingent elements of strict scrutiny? Quote, compelling government interest. Think about how retarded that is. You write a document that's specifically meant to absolutely restrict the government in certain circumstances, and then you create a doctrine that says that that can be violated if the government has, quote, a compelling government interest. Who gets to determine whether the government has a compelling government interest? Oh yeah, a bunch of unelected bureaucrats who collect statistics in government. And of course, what they say is that, like, ending racism or making black people feel good is a compelling government interest, so then you can violate the Constitution to do it, right? And that's why she uses that language.
No. The answer is obviously yes, that you have an interest in remedying the effects.
And I actually really like this response because, so what she says here, she starts, first premise is, obviously the government has a compelling government interest to end racial discrimination, right? We're just debating about whether the remedy is bad. And he doesn't admit that. He says, actually, no, let's take a step back. This is about a majority, like, he doesn't concede to the statement that the government has a compelling government interest about racial discrimination. The reason he does that is so that it doesn't circumvent the Constitution.
Of racial discrimination that we identify using this tool. Whether you go too far in your remedy is another issue, right?
Your Honor, I think step zero in all of these cases, it was certainly step zero in the Robinson litigation, is the plaintiffs came in and said, we want another majority black district.
I thought they came in and said, we are not receiving equal electoral opportunity because our votes are being diluted.
Which is the same way of saying we deserve a second.
No.
Yes, because that's the only remedy being presented.
No, it's not, because that, again, just trust me on this.
Trust me. It's generally, like, okay, if you listen to, you know, for reasons totally unrelated to anything, I've had to listen to a lot of oral arguments of the Supreme Court. The justice making the, like, they're just supposed to be asking questions. Like, compare this to the Clarence Thomas one, where he just said, ask question, receive answer, right? When you as Jackson are a Supreme Court justice and are making the argument for one of the sides, like she's doing here, no, it's not, just trust me, the second district is a remedy that could, like, you are off the reservation.
The second electoral or second district is a remedy that one could offer for a problem that we've identified.
So what? You're the defendant now? You're part of the, like, anyway. It's this part is funny. Obviously, her calling him disabled is the real funny thing. All right, that's enough with this bullshit. Nobody cares. Nothing ever happens. Let's see JF talk about well, let's do this real quick. I want to do this is, trust me, this will be fast. Okay, so remember when I said that you know, Kino Casino likes to complain about sitting through the Hambly threads, but they don't. They all just get it from a single poster. And then immediately after that, the next show, they cited that poster. I'm going to do the same thing again and see if it works again. So all the clips that Kino Casino is using right now, as we speak, well, what is it, 6 o'clock? So they probably only started the show 20 minutes ago. So maybe they're not on to iDubbbz yet. But when they get to iDubbbz tonight, whenever that is, every single clip that they use about this topic, about him betraying Max Mofo, is coming from this user, Bulgarian Lives Matter, who regularly goes to the effort to clip these streams and put it together. They didn't sit through it. Whatever they say, it's bullshit. Okay, so here they are. Here are the clips that Casey's going to play, and we're going to get through this in 10 minutes instead of 2 hours.
I think the grandma, like, I completely...
This is him talking shit about his own grandma. This was in the KC promo.
forgot how quirky the grandma was. And I think it was a little bit weird as a kid because I didn't think of it as cool per se. And I didn't really have a grandma that was like this. So I think for me it was kind of unbelievable. But I would love to have grown up with a grandma that was more like this. Not conservative, not like there's a certain way to be in life.
Yeah, but aren't you that way? I mean, you're saying that you want your grandma to be a certain way in life. Like, didn't you kind of just raped yourself there, buddy?
And that's to not have a fucking soul.
Wait, but you're going to say later you don't like religion. And religion is what posits the existence of the soul. If you're an atheist, you don't believe in the soul. Okay.
To say, I'm kind of now a fan of your I'm Gay clip where...
This is him throwing Max Mofo. Okay, so background here. So him and the Cancer crew, which was him, Max Mofo, Anything for Views, and now Joji, Filthy Frank. They used to do these videos where they would do crazy shit. They would pimp out wheelchairs, eat rats, whatever the fuck. In one of those videos was the one where he was in the skin suit. He jumps off the thing and says, I'm gay, right? And then says the NF over and over and over again. He is now trying to rewrite history that was actually his attempt to, like, say, to I don't know, like, I guess it was him trying to say something about the gay, like, he was trying to be pro-gay, I guess, when he said that, which is hilarious because if you go look at his tweets at the time, which has already been covered, I'm sure you've seen them, he's talking about, like, R-ing everybody, calling, like, so this is like Hassan didn't shock his dog to your coat.
Is it controversial to say I'm kind of now a fan of your I'm Gay clip where you're in the green suit? Of course. I think a lot of... No, there's a ton of gay people. A ton of gay people and a ton of LGBTQ associated people.
Associated. Orbiters is what we called.
Who thought that was...
Is House streaming? Did I miss that? Because I made that tweet because I saw he wasn't streaming. Is he actually streaming right now? That would be kind of some friendly fire there. No? Okay, I don't know.
And I genuinely do agree with this, that it was...
Wait. What?
I genuinely do of LGBTQ associated people who thought that was... And I genuinely do agree with this, that it was a positive, nice thing to do.
It was a positive, nice thing to do to jump off of a counter and say, I'm gay. And then say a bunch of slurs. I mean, I think that was positive. I thought it was funny. I don't know if nice is the right word for it, but who cares about nice? You were a professional shitposter.
And entertaining, you know? That's the good side of iDubbbz, I would say.
I don't know what he's listening to. He just does this to make it hard to clip.
It's this moment of levity that allows you to Because I think there was an opportunity for me to jump down from the bench tops, and because Max said, jump down and say something gay. And this was like...
So it's not... So it wasn't even your idea. Did this guy do anything himself? Because he also says Anissa came up with, like, half the Content Cop ideas.
You know, this is some very, like, straight man kind of peer pressure.
Bro, and you didn't just say no?
I could have jumped down and said something extremely offensive, but I just said, I'm gay. I think that was...
But you did say offensive stuff. Like, I mean, people have already pulled up his Twitter at the time. There's some all-time greats in there. There's some, like, pedo-troll tier posts in there. They're insane.
That was probably, like...
So don't tell me now that you didn't want to say something offensive back then.
That was, like, the most... What would you say? That was the most, like, politically correct thing I think I could have said.
Well, you could have just said nothing.
You know what I mean? But because it's one of these moments that I think a lot of... Because I was so edgy at the time and I did say offensive things, it kind of hijacked the narrative for a lot of people.
No, that was your narrative. What are you talking... Does this guy have any... You know, people always criticize blaming Anissa for everything. And I've said this in some of the first streams I did that were mostly about items, because I was like around when like this kind of all started, where I said, you know, he's the man of the house. The blame ultimately comes upon him. Whether he even takes that position or not, I believe it to be true. So I'm going to blame him. Like, he's a sovereign individual. He's choosing to take this bad advice. He's choosing to let himself be dominated by these bad ideas and whatnot, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But like, even in his own internal narrative, his narrative is he has no narrative. He is just a flesh puppet for everybody else.
Who wanted it to...
And then gets mad when people just suggest that. When they say, oh, this isn't you, this is your wife. Or, oh, this isn't you, this is Hassan. He gets mad when people say that, but he's saying it right here.
Be offensive or edgy. Because you could kind of interpret what you wanted out of it. Like, oh, he's doing that...
Yeah, super artistic. It was some Thunderbolts to your commentary saying I'm gay.
In a mocking kind of way. We'll see how it ages. I think it's all right.
Okay.
Well, when you treat them all sweetly, they fucking like it, you know? It's tough. That's the thing I'm, like, kind of not looking forward to about having a kid, is the idea that...
So they've decided to have kids now. Oh, no.
You want to be sweet, but, like, I hate how smart them little fuckers are. They know how to take advantage of you, and they know how to put on a
Are you really afraid of getting outsmarted by a child? This is like an average teacher moment. This is like the average teacher that is somehow subtarded under the IQ of a child, and that's why they became a teacher.
Show. It's gonna be work to get them to not put on a show. Where, like, kids, they can whine.
Oh, he's even got the dog in the corner, just like Hassan.
Over anything, and they can throw a tantrum over anything.
Whoa, they can have opinions that are irrational. Yeah, well, how do you think we all feel about you, man?
I don't like the fucking religious shit at all. It's super, like, it feels super out of touch. Hey, that's...
Out of touch? With what? That's the whole point of religion, is that it sets premises for what's real and what's not, like what you should be in. Oh, whatever.
It's also one of the reasons, by the way, guys, why Big Bang Theory is, I think, a very relevant show.
What? What? The Big Bang Theory cultural revolution? What?
To our generation. There's this scene, people on Big Bang Theory having to deal with Sheldon's mom, who's like this religious...
Yeah, and Big Bang Theory is now known as being like the most cringe, out of touch product of its time, Rick and Morty tier, aged terribly, albatross hanging on the entire decades of the 2010s. What the fuck are you talking? This guy is just living on another planet, man. Like...
Nutbag, and what? None of them want to fucking, like, they're basically taking her on a tour of different churches and shit, and she's like, all right, without even acknowledging that they...
Okay, I would defend Big Bang Theory's quality before I would defend its cultural relevance. Because that's what he's saying here. He's not just saying it's good. He's saying that it's like culturally relevant and incisive and like a zeitgeist.
May have different beliefs. The mom was basically like, all right, let's all like sit down and pray. And it's like, you're already doing the bad thing. You're already assuming that all of these people want to pray, number one, and that they believe the shit that you believe. And
that's what you do every day on the stream. That's what you do in all your videos. You assume everybody's starting a priori at your position, that there's no shot caller, and that everybody, like, the difference is you don't pray. You can't even get that far.
It was super awkward, but very relatable. Like, we've all been invited to the heavily religious friend's household, and their parents are making you feel super uncomfortable. Like, not good.
Huh. It's interesting you'd point that out, that being forced to submit to the beliefs of others is uncomfortable, because that's what's happening in Europe with the invasion of Muslims. And it's a far more intolerant religion than Christianity, number one. Number two, it's their house. So that's not even really the right comparison, I guess. So what, they're not allowed to have standards and practices within their own house? What if I go to your house and I start screaming the N-word? What if I go to your house and start drawing swastikas on the wall? What if I go to your house and just start dropping copies of the bell curve everywhere? What if I go to your house and kill and eat your dog because I'm Chinese? Like, are you going to be okay with any of that? I start talking about racial statistics at the dinner table. I start saying political stuff that you don't like. You're not allowed to set a standard for what's okay in your own house. Maybe that's why you ran all the way to Edmonton. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, you would never apply the same standard to your own place.
A lot of Catholicism classes in university because the professor was agnostic and had really interesting views. Made me interested in a topic I've never cared about. Religion is nuts to me, but I can now see why people get into it. That is such a nice, that's such a pleasant introduction to religion, in my opinion.
He's about to chimp.
Like, finding someone who's passionate and interested in religion but aren't religious themselves.
Well, okay. First of all, everyone's religious. Everybody has a religion. Just some people's religion is saying their religion isn't a religion. Because if you come down to any discrete, consistent definition of religion, it would always include secularism within like its premises. Because secularism fits any like coherent definition of a religion, number one. Number two, so what? They view religion as like an intellectual curiosity. That's how some people get into it, right? Like, that's one path.
I think is like, it allows you to really appreciate things and kind of separate the cult-like aspects.
I hate the word cult. Obviously, there are organizations that are malicious, like Scientology and stuff. I don't like the word cult because nobody can ever apply like a good definition for it. That's not to say I don't think what people mean by cult exist. The reason I don't like the term is because then people like iDubbbz will use it to refer to any belief system that's not theirs.
Like, I think my family, like, individuals in my family have found moments where they were like super alone, and like the concept of God was kind of all their brains could fathom.
Okay, what's your alternative? Again, iDubbbz is this is what we talked about in the media literacy. Okay, problem of despair. What's your solution?
That's like all that could make sense to them, because they didn't have others to rely on in that way.
This is literally Thunderbolts. You don't need God because a bunch of equally flawed, unredeemed people gave you a hug, and you don't feel any better, and you don't have any you don't have any coherent answer that's like intellectually satisfying or even emotionally satisfying. But we all had a hug.
And so it is super helpful when you have nothing. When you have more community, to me, it feels less and less.
How do you define your community? What if your community is based off of a shared belief in a creator that has created you all for a reason and has given you guidance on the way to live and to live the good life? What if there's no God at all? What if it's literally just a philosophical community? It would still fulfill like the basic definition of a religion. Like what do you mean by community? It can't be race. It can't be culture. It can't be like shared ontology, like shared, like this is where truth comes from or anything, because that would just be a religion to you. Like, what the fuck is it? Like, these people just take for granted that society exists. They just take for granted that we have we have cultures and like institutions and morals that have been explicated by people smarter than all of us for thousands of years and defended and refined and everything.
Necessary.
He just thinks they're just going to
They'll
exist.
go through fucking hard times, and if it plays a role, that's great. I just don't like the idea of it kind of...
What, telling you to do anything? Restraining you at all? But that's the problem. Is because if there was a higher power and it existed and loved you and would redeem you, it would place restrictions on you. It would give you guidance. It would tell you what good and what evil is, what right is and what wrong is, at least to a certain extent. It would at least, and you know, even if it respects free will, like it would give some guidance on that. But you don't want that because it would require maybe sometimes doing something or not doing something that you think would make you feel good for a greater purpose, a greater non-material purpose. But ultimately, the philosophy of all these people is just coomism. Is just, we were all put on this earth to coom all the time and feel good right now. The entire universe, the Big Bang, like whatever it was, the entire universe was put together. The mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, was designed from the beginning of time, predestined since the beginning of the universe, so that you could coom right now. That is the beginning and end of the entire philosophy here.
Like, I don't know, influencing how you fucking do everything in life, how you treat others.
Yeah.
In the negative, I guess. Like, they're really good.
You have the same thing. There are people you said are bad and good and giving you reasons why. You have the same fucking thing. Yours just doesn't stand up to scrutiny.
Good. There are people who are extremely religious and they're able to fucking balance that with their humanity, I guess.
It's not balanced. Religion is an essential element of humanity and is present in every human culture.
But it feels like way too many people use it as just a weird kind of prop thing.
Yeah, weird kind of prop, like your entire, like all the politics that you don't know anything about, you never heard of until 2 weeks ago, and now you're talking about like you're some expert.
Would have been better if the world, the education system, would have just let me burn myself out.
True.
On World of Warcraft.
True. No, come on, he's cooking here.
And then say, all right, now read Beowulf.
No, not even that.
You're done with this shit. Because I quit that shit cold turkey. I was like, they introduced this wave of new content.
True. I said it before. I'm a black Jewish man who dropped out of school in 6th grade, and look how I turned out. I'm thriving. I'm streaming to 2 viewers talking about some cuck online. You're right, Ian. He's right. Fuck school, fuck teachers.
And then I was like, nah, I'm done. I've had enough of this shit.
All right, that's the entire. These are all the. Well, I think Kino Casino is actually only going to do these 2 clips, but they might do these other ones. That took us like 20 minutes. There you go. And they all come from this guy. They didn't whatever they say. They did not look through it. It's all just literally these clips. We'll see if they call out Bulgarian Lives Matter next stream like they did with Revenge of the Mac and Cheese. Okay, so here we go. The interview with JF. Like I said, if you're not up to date on the story from 2 fucking years ago, I'm going to re-upload a recording I made right after it happened, talking to 2 bums next to the 5 freeway, where I gave them the entire backstory of JF and his potato mashing history. And then we went over his interview with Dax, where he just basically straight up admits how he would do it and why. So go over that. So watch that after this. I'll do a little editing and post it. This is supposedly a new girlfriend who had moved in after the mashing of Alora, who he immediately inseminated. And then he should have got kicked out of school for rashing a black woman and then become a water filter. Yeah, like PPP. Got kicked out of his church because of Ralph, but really not. Yeah. I thought there was also like a race or a RAPE thing with PPP. Wasn't that also a claim? Not that I don't know if he did anything, but like that was part of it too. I don't know. Okay, so this is the new girlfriend who went and apparently did an insemination contract with JF and is now immediately afterwards trying to get her 5 minutes of fame by talking shit. Again, I don't know what to say because it's like on the one hand, she has every reason to just tell a bunch of lies and be retarded and just tell a story to get her 2 minutes of fame. On the other hand, the other side is almost certainly a murderer, or at least like I don't really have any good explanation otherwise. So it's sort of, I don't know, believe what you want. Hopefully the story is at least good. Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. Even if this lady's an idiot, even if this lady is totally unreliable, the worst part of this, unfortunately, is probably going to be the two co-hosts. And I don't really want to talk too much shit on the Real Housewives of Alberta. I'm not saying they're inherently bad, but they're very clearly normal women who have inserted themselves into the sector in this way, and they're just very normy, okay? And I haven't listened to this, but I imagine it's going to come off pretty hard.
Everything discussed in this stream is alleged. Everything is based on our opinions.
Oh my God.
Please do your own research.
It's already happening. The AI.
What's up, Holly?
Should have talked about CRP instead. He's way funnier. Isn't he dead?
Not much. How about you? How was your Thanksgiving? It was fucking terrible, but it was terrible. I'm disappointed. We went to the gig. Thinking it would be a nice dinner. It was like this processed turkey roll, and it was chunky. Oh, I couldn't eat it. I tried to be not like fake lab meat. No, it did. It was all multicolored. It was fucking gross. Excuse my language. So I just whatever. Next year, make the turkey myself, I guess. But you know what was nice, Holly? I gotta tell you real quick. I know people in the chat are like, get to it, ladies. No, I want to say driving to the keg was amazing because of your amazing husband. Mm-hmm. He fixed my power steering and put air in my tires. Apparently they were dangerous.
Oh boy.
Oh my God. Good evening. I just want to pat us on the back first of all, Holly.
Oh no. All right, everyone, shields up. Shields up. This is worse than I expected. Get your normie shields up. CRP is a turn. I know there's CRP truthers out there who think he's still alive. I'm gonna take that position because I hope it's true. I just, just purely ideationally. All right, psychic shields up, everybody. We've got we've got high level cringe here. This is like PTA meeting type stuff.
Well, that's okay. You can be an Alberta housewife. I'm not married, so you can still be an Alberta housewife, even though you're back in the States. So you and I went over some questions, and we're just going to jump right into it, just so we can.
Yes,
give
please.
So much to cover. Yep. So you're the mystery woman.
The problem is not that they're women. It's not even a problem. They're just normal middle-aged women. That's not like a bad thing. It's kind of a massive culture shock coming from the sector.
Certified is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
How does it feel to have that title?
Embarrassing.
Is it? Is that why? Truly, I'm just curious. Is that why you preferred not to show your face today?
Well, yeah, because he set me up. Like when you tell people, "Oh, my girlfriend's a 10 out of 10," if I go on there, they'll be like, "Oh,
sad.
Yeah,
people will because people are dicks, but it's okay.
Yeah.
The reason you don't show your face is so you don't get. Okay.
Don't worry, I get criticized every fucking stream. There's usually somebody that's usually
somebody
that's usually I assume they're with.
Yeah, you're right, man. This could be. This looks like Worski's costume the other day, and I mean, I don't want to be too mean to these ladies, but yeah.
Yeah, talking about how fat I am. No matter where you go, though, I did think that was why, and I think that's so shitty. So that's okay. You don't have to show your face, but you can when you're ready. And you are beautiful, so don't worry about it.
Thanks.
Who cares?
And also, I just want to pat us on the back first of all.
Oh my God,
ladies, because we were right in our information we got from the homeowner.
Yes.
How
Thank
mostly
you.
looks like you.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard he's a fucking amazing dad.
Oh.
I'm being very sarcastic.
Yeah. Well, when he talks about family values, think Manson family.
That's the other thing is any person who's been allowed themselves to fall into this shit with JF is automatically discredited as kind of an idiot. It's kind of the perfect scam. Maybe this is why he only goes for potatoes, because anything they say is automatically partly discredited.
Well, I believe you. Is this your only child that you have? The one
Yes.
JF? Okay. So JF is the one who started this he publicized your breakup. He mentioned that you kidnapped the baby and all this stuff. Do you want to tell everybody how that happened, and then we'll go back to how you met him after we talk about your breakup. So how we got here.
So how the breakup happened.
Yeah.
Okay. So while I was with JF, I noticed I loved him. I still have very strong feelings for him. I'm emotionally, it's hard to just when you're in love with someone, you don't just overnight stop loving them.
Just admitted that you were in love with him. You're going to regret saying that later, because now that's going to color everything you say after this. And when you try to say, okay,
right,
you'll see.
And I still part of me is oh, I hope he changes and all. But
I don't know everything she says in this, but I know it's some of the discrete claims because I did read JF's response before before we've watched this. But that was an interesting admission.
I know logically he's not going to, but so after I gave birth, I had been holding a lot of things in while I was pregnant, because when you're pregnant, you're not supposed
you're holding in a baby
to stress out and argue, and so just I put on a happy face and held a lot of stuff in. And after I was pregnant, I didn't put his name on the birth certificate, and I didn't realize he would react like he did.
What? This guy's entire life is being like Genghis Khan and wanting to have as many kids as possible, and you didn't think he would be upset that you didn't put his name on the birth. What the fuck?
But he went totally ballistic. And,
was he there in the room with you or something?
Oh no. I left Canada a week after I found out I was pregnant.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I've been in the US. Sure. I've been in the US for my entire pregnancy because I didn't want to have it in that environment. Hold on.
What? So he didn't take care of you during the who took care of you? Like, I mean, pregnant women, they require like a lot of care. Like they have cravings, they're tired, you're literally pregnant. Like there's stuff that has to get done.
It was very stressful.
Good job. Good for you for taking care of you first. So you had the baby, you didn't put his name on, and he's texting you, I guess, while you're in the hospital?
Well, it was after I got out of the hospital. I got home, and one night, I think in the middle of the night, he texted me, and he was like, "Did you put my name on the birth certificate?" And I was like, "Well, no, and I didn't want to. That's when all hell broke loose.
Right. How did he react?
He became very emotional and crying.
Is that really what made you break up? Is you not doing this? Were you planning on not doing this from the very beginning?
And stuff, and I felt bad. I didn't want to be in that situation. I wanted his name to be on the birth certificate, but the reason I couldn't bring myself to put it on was because he has mental health problems.
Right.
What? So, what? So because he has mental health problems, he's not allowed to be legally recognized as... If those problems are bad enough, you can still like put his name on there and then he doesn't get visitation or gets less visitation. Number one. Number two, did you only realize he had mental health problems between when he inseminated you and you gave birth?
Well, yeah, and I mean, as we carry on.
This guy is like a accused murderer. And it's all anyone's talked about with him for 2 years. What the fuck?
Yeah, and I don't trust him with kids.
Weird. It's weird that
you don't trust him with kids. Then why did you get inseminated? What the fuck? Wait, is this... Hold on. Hold on. Maybe he just wanted her... Maybe she just wanted his genes. He's like, yeah, he's crazy. He's not good with kids, but I need that GF goo to make the the revolutionary phenotype, the super baby. But I have to cut him out.
I mean, honestly, I'm seeing a pattern here on the internet. No, I think that's great. So that's awful. So you were sick too after you had your baby.
You're not going to press on that at all. I'm not expecting this to be a hostile interview, but I would at least ask a follow-up to that. It's like, when did you realize he had mental health problems? Number one. Number two, when did you realize he was bad with kids? Like, what is the timeline here?
Preeclampsia, and I had to be hospitalized for it.
All women are like, no, they're not.
What is that? Just for some of the people who are watching.
It's like a condition that arises when you're pregnant or after you are. Your blood pressure goes up. Mine was going up to over 183.
Oh my God.
My feet were swollen.
She's a G-stealer. Yes. That's exactly what it is. She was sent down by the fleet, by the Hive fleet, to steal JF's revolutionary phenotype and take it back to the Hive tyrant.
Yeah, it just depends on the person, what symptoms you have.
Sector baby, and Ralph is in Mexico. Yeah, exactly. Where do I go to make a sector baby? Canada or Mexico?
But it is very dangerous, and it's a very serious thing.
So tell me this, while you're dealing with the postpartum preeclampsia, he's at least being supportive then. He's not bombarding you or upsetting you then, right?
No.
Oh, it's not the class act that I thought he might be for 5 seconds. What happened?
So
I'll say this, Bill, as well. Every woman in general is not like this, but as Shrexno says, every woman in the sector is like this.
He was upsetting me, just arguing about the name on the birth certificate, and I was like,
that's the most reasonable thing for him to argue about. Tell me something he actually did that's crazy.
Look, I really don't feel like arguing about this right now. I need to focus on getting better. And the nurses that were coming in my hospital room noticed, they're like, every time you're talking to your boyfriend, your blood pressure is going up.
Oh my God.
And I was like begging him. I was even video chatting with him. I was crying. And I was
log off, nigga.
Like, please stop. Just be nice to me. I was begging him, be nice to me. I can't handle this right now. This isn't the time. And he's like, I'll be nice to you when you put my name on the birth certificate.
What a self-centered fucking asshole. Wow.
And he was...
Yeah, I mean, that's not the way to deal with this. But that's a very JF-ian... Like, I totally believe that he was like that. Because that's just very JF, very, like, very, conditional, It's like, oh, I'll do this for that, right? That's how he thinks about everything. that being said, this is a reasonable thing for him to be upset about.
Also, talking to other girls, and
Ooh.
he was like, I'll be faithful to you when you put my name on the birth certificate.
Ooh. Again, this is why you shouldn't do this without getting married. This is why, like, marriage is a sacrament or anything, so you know exactly what the conditions are.
Oh, so he's making you insecure.
It's funny that a guy like JF, who, for all the bad things about him, like, he is intelligent, like, he still hasn't come to that logical conclusion yet.
Tried to, like, he's doing what he did to Alora, like, oh, there's gonna be other women in the queue. Is that what he's doing? What a motherfucker. So you've just given birth to this child, you're sick, and it is like a very high risk sickness. You're all of this, and it's all about JF. That's all he cares about.
Yeah, and like he admitted to me, he's like, one in particular, he's like, oh, I had to confide in another woman, and
is that the cringe panda?
Yeah,
and he said,
the thing is, she's not even a woman; she's a child.
No, I did check. I did deep.
What? Now, do you mean child as an actual child, or do you mean child in the way women sometimes think that anybody younger than them is a child?
Deep check. She's 25.
Oh, really?
Technically.
Okay, so it's number 2. This lady is just. Again, I'm not like a JF defender. I mean, I've covered on, like I said, I'll drop that recording. I'm very hard on JF in that when I'm talking to the 2 bums on the 5 freeway. Like, I'm not a JF defender at all. I straight up basically say he's a murderer. And then in the other time when I covered when we talked about the video of his house, like, I am not a JF guy, but this lady has in 12 minutes just completely destroyed, like, any credibility she has with some of these statements.
Not a child. She likes to
she likes to cosplay as a child,
which is fucking weird. That's fucking weird. But yeah, it's also weird. It's weird that he would do that, and it's weird that he would send you those text messages. He's
right,
cool.
and he was like, "Oh, she was calling him professor, and like she was like, our babies would have my blue eyes."
Yeah,
and it's like I looked her up. Apparently, she's like supposed to be a conservative Christian, but I wasn't aware like that it was a conservative value to try to be a homewrecker.
No, well, it sounds like her JF though might have been talking for a few years from what you had said before.
Yeah, I blame JF for all of that. Obviously, he shouldn't be talking to other women. Like, well, he should be married to you before even having kids. But again, it's clear that JF, despite all of his intelligence, does not understand the concept of like mutual, not respect, but mutual responsibilities and constraint. Essentially, this is why you shouldn't have done. It's why the whole insemination contract, as funny as it is that he makes those giant posts that I think are hilarious. It's why that model doesn't work.
But that's just okay. So that's just a shitbag thing to do.
Yeah.
So I mean, good for you though for sticking it to him and saying no, fuck you, absolutely not. Because a lot of women in that moment they would have felt insecure and they would have maybe crumbled and they would have maybe just done what he wanted and whatever, gone against their own will. So that
the Jay Dyer, I should do that on stream someday. The Jay Dyer debate. Jay Dyer is actually good at, obviously. There's like theological stuff there, but Jay Dyer is pretty good at talking to atheists.
It's impressive though that you got through it and you said fuck you, make me.
Right, and it made me dig my heels in even more because I was like, do you think that you're helping your cause any? Like, why?
And the other thing you'd think that JF would understand with women is that, like, if JF was standing in the room with her, like he had been with her through the pregnancy, because that's like when the attachment period is, been with her through the pregnancy, there when she gives birth, there's no way she wouldn't have done almost anything he asks, including something as basic as putting his name on it. But he just assumes that from thousands of miles away, when he hasn't been there that she's going to do this. Like, obviously she should have, like, he's reasonable for being angry about it, but, you'd think for a guy who probably thinks about this all statistically, right? All, like, probabilistically, that he would not do the math and run the numbers and realize that the most probabilistic likely outcome to get what he wants would have been to just be a husband.
Why would I put your birth certificate when I know if I kick off that you're going to move in one of these crazy women and like they're going to have access to my child?
No, fuck that. Nope. Well, I mean,
kick off. I mean, if you perish, don't you want your child to have a new mother? Like, you don't want a single father household, right?
I'm glad it happened just because it means I really think it saved your ass a lot.
Yeah.
Besides that, I know that you have a very, very good relationship with your mom, who also lives with you in the States. And I just want to say a shout out to your mom because she is so good. She is baby that 10 out of 10 can come on and talk and tell her story. And her mom sounds like she's just been like over the top supportive. And so you're so lucky that you have that support. And I think it's amazing. So, all right. So we've gotten to how you broke up because that's quicker than getting to the rest. But people really do want to know how did you first discover JF?
So I was reading a blog post by this guy called Vox Day. He's like a right wing.
Comics Gate OG Vox Day.
commentator and stuff. And he just kind of briefly mentioned that JF's partner had disappeared, and he described JF as neurologically unique, and I thought that was kind of funny because I have autism.
Whoa. So your introduction to this guy was hearing that his wife quote disappeared, and that he has mental problems. So you just fucked up your whole timeline here. Because the only timeline that might have partially vindicated you was if you didn't realize he was crazy until after you were inseminated and you're like anti-abortion. But now you're telling me the first thing you hear about him is that he's crazy and you still chose to be inseminated.
Disappeared, and he described JF as neurologically unique, and I thought that was kind of funny because I have autism and I would consider myself a little bit neurologically unique.
Okay, well, now we're gonna have to consider that in all of your testimony. Is by your own definition, you're crazy, or you're neurologically unique, whatever stupid fucking neologism you want to use for it. Also, that you have. So we're still on the potato mashing arc. Okay.
And I just on a whim contacted JF, and we ended up talking, and he.
Is that what women do? They contact you, quote, on a whim? Like she's downplaying her own intent here.
Says he has autism too. I don't know.
He's got a few things. He's got like I don't know. He's like
No, she didn't read him while pregnant. She read him before she was inseminated by JF to find out about JF.
Just a psychopath.
Yeah, I don't know what he is totally, but you know.
Do you remember when you started talking to him? Like, I'm just trying to keep track for when she went away and everything.
October of 2023.
That's when you first started talking to him. Not when you first. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and she was reported missing in October.
Hold on. October, and JF, if I recall, announced to the world that Mama JF was gone in August because it was 2 months after her disappearance in June. I don't know why I know these details 2 years later, but a guy I barely talk about on stream. Whatever. Wow, so he was already playing the field pretty soon.
2023.
Right, and it was before like a lot of news had come out, and it was before I think he'd really done interviews about it, and I
can actually check this. Hold on. Because this recording I'm going to post, I think I made in October. Hold on. This isn't on, like, I'm not going to pull anything up here. I'm just going to look here in my archives. Let's see, when did I make this? This was October 2023. Okay. So that means that he had done the Dax interview in mid-October, because I didn't do it immediately. It was maybe like a week after that I did this recording. So her timeline isn't quite right here. So he had done the Dax interview probably around the time they were talking.
Assumed she would show up at that point. Like,
yeah. Well, what did he tell you about his in the early talks when you were just talking online hadn't come out? What did he tell you about Laura and the family situation?
He said like that she was crazy and like this hippie woman, and that she wanted to leave.
So it was a similar story to what he's continuously said.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever see? I don't even know how I wrote that one down. That one sounds dumb.
You're 15 minutes in, lady.
What made you believe him over the stuff you were reading online? That one I'm curious about. Like, how did you read something from like a lot of people in a forum? Because I knew we'd have checked some things out, and then he does his magic. Like, is it
right?
Is he just good?
Well, I would say I was kind of depressed at that point in my life and vulnerable, and I felt like
yeah, but you reached out to him. Like, it's not like he hit you up and was like, don't believe the haters, we can make the autism super baby to conquer this world. Like you reached out, you chose him.
I wanted to believe him.
Right.
I wanted to believe him.
That's what I think. I think a lot of.
Have you ever looked into Randy Quaid's bizarre look, where he and his wife fled to Canada in fear of this No. I'll look at that. That sounds pretty. Yeah, that is a good question. Why he was never in anything else?
People don't realize that.
Well, girls like actually in this in the recording I'm going to post. He talks about this in the Dax interview. He calls it the killer's bounty. That apparently once you're assumed to be a murderer, it actually attracts women. Which is why this question was kind of accidentally pwned to this girl, is because she probably reached out because he had the killer's bounty, but she doesn't want to admit that now.
That is exactly what happens to us.
Yeah.
I have no proof of that. I'm just saying that if you believe JF's theory that a man who has the air of murder is more attracted to him, if you believe that theory, then it stands to reason that she might have reached out even subconsciously influenced by that.
So good at brainwashing ourselves into thinking things.
I had no choice, Yana. I had to be impregnated by JF. I was depressed.
We can see it, and we deny it, and we justify it to ourselves. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get how you could do that, but I wanted just other people to maybe hear it. So when you started talking, how quickly after you guys started talking did JF invite you to Canada?
Like pretty much right away, and he was
like he didn't try to get to know you at all first.
Yeah, no. So I hadn't even watched one of his streams in full ever, and I didn't know about him doing the insemination stuff. And like one of the things he said to me when I first emailed him was, he's like, "Let me know if you want to make babies." And I thought he was just being kind of cute. I didn't realize it was like a deep-seated.
No, he's a weird.
Write that down, guys. New pickup line.
Weird about it, yeah. No.
Yeah.
So right away, so he invited you. What I find shocking and concerning, and thank God you weren't a creep. Okay, you could have been a creep. There are a lot of, like, you guys look at the news. There's female pedophiles all over. Okay?
Yeah.
You do not. Who the fuck invites some woman they just met online to come to Canada to come and stay in their home or visit and at their home with their small children that they didn't even talk to you for a long time. Like, so irresponsible. And I'm so glad that you were who you were, because it could have ended up.
Get somehow Jim involved with the Real Housewives of Alberta. Like, introduce Medicare to them and somehow make it relevant to them, and then KOP will call them.
Way worse.
Yeah.
You could have. So when did you make your first trip to
Canada?
Canada?
People denied that theory. I mean, I honestly believe it. Because as Shrekino points out, like, serial killers get tons of fangirls, and there's like a certain biological element to it from, like, caveman times and stuff. And honestly, she doesn't want to have to admit that, but the timeline adds up. Because like I said, I made my video going over the Dax interview on October 31st, 2023. And that was maybe a week and a half after it happened. And she says they started talking in October. So it's, and he had been talking about it before the Dax interview. So it's almost like he reached out to, like, they started talking when he was doing the interview circuit, when he was being, like, basically saying, I did it. Like, you'll listen, like, it's crazy some of the stuff he said.
Like, when did you decide, okay, fuck it, I'm just going to go see him?
He was pressuring me to come very quickly, but I put it off because I didn't feel comfortable with it.
Right.
I put it off until March of 2024.
That's pretty good, because I think he would have been, I can only imagine how much pressure he was putting on you.
Yeah.
So March of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because we've seen the house. So people who are watching right now, if you haven't seen the house, it's in the playlist on YouTube and Rumble under JF.
The house is fucked.
So when you got there, I'm just dying to know, what was your first impression when you saw JF? Like, did he pick you up at the airport? How did that work?
Yeah, he picked me up at the airport in Charlottetown, and it was like, I don't know, an hour or so back to the house in O'Leary.
What did you think of JF when you first saw him, honestly? Just be honest. Okay.
A little bigger than I expected.
By a little bigger, you mean like 200 pounds bigger? Ollie, will you pop up that one picture of him with her? She's walking in front of him. I'm sorry, Lee.
After this question, we're just going to take a quick break. We have a bunch of questions.
He's fat.
That people have posted, and we have a Rumble rant, so we need to go over those.
Okay, wait, we can't do the questions until after we get to the just before we get into the Allura part, because we're not even there yet, Holly. I've got to keep these questions in sync. Okay, so this is the man that you saw, the man on the screen here, the one that definitely should be wearing a brassiere.
Yes.
Those are movies. Those are movies.
Slim.
Wow. Well, he's talked himself up. I know he has, because he talks a lot of shit in your brain.
I was like, I can't wait to pop an Ambien and go to sleep.
Ooh, okay, so you're addicted to drugs.
It was just too much to think about.
I mean, that alone is not enough to say that, but we're on that path now.
I just wasn't ready to process it.
Yeah, because that, so you, and I know we've talked a lot of shit about how the house wasn't clean, and you have said that you've cleaned a lot of that house. I believe that you cleaned a lot of the house. My shit talking is not about your cleanliness or whatever. It was about the fact that JF is, I'm such a provider, and I've done all this shit, and, I've done these renovations. He talks himself up. It's like, he's just such a man. But then
is this it? Are we just talking about how his house is dirty? I mean, that's funny, I guess, but, like, this isn't sinking the ship.
And you're like, no, dude, you're disgusting. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there were things about the house that made me really uncomfortable, and I would try. So we were sleeping in the upstairs part, and I had some concerns about the exposed insulation, and he was like,
gross.
"Oh my god, exposed it."
Dismiss it. My first concern was like, does it contain asbestos? And I hope it didn't, because I slept up there for a few months. But the exposed insulation, like if you sleep,
asbestos is based. I eat asbestos every day
in a room with that, it's going to make you sick. And it started causing me to have asthma attacks. And I didn't at the time realize that it was
He gave me asthma from the asbestos in the wall. Is this it? Is this really it?
I would wake up, like, I almost died of an asthma attack one night. And later I confronted him about it. And I was like, did you know exposed insulation can cause respiratory issues like this? And he's like, no.
What is this?
And I'm like, but you claim to know about fixing up houses, you know?
Right?
You're supposed to be a man. I can.
People were talking up this interview like it was some crazy shit.
Come on.
Yes. Okay. Really quick. I've just got 2 more questions in this section, Holly, and then we'll take a break. But don't ask any lore questions because we haven't gotten there yet. Okay, Holly. So, okay. So I just really quick too. So you met the kids. We're not going to use their names. We're going to do anything identifying. Was that overwhelming for you? Because how old were the kids when you met them? Like, so your first, welcome to Charlottetown. I'm fat. Here's my dumpy house, and these are my children. what was it like for you? Like, that must have been overwhelming.
Well, I like kids, so I was excited to meet them. But when I did, I was really let down because immediately I noticed something was off. Like, they didn't act like normal kids.
Because from what I get,
I mean, to be fair, they're probably autistic or disabled in some format because their mother was very clearly a potato.
Gathered, to you, they seem severely like disabled almost. Like if we could throw out a lot of wild fucking labels, but like nonverbal autistic, maybe other stuff. Is that what you're saying? Like kind of like that?
Well, so to be specific, when I went there, the girl was 3 and she didn't even speak in complete sentences.
His kids are retarded. Okay, but is that JF's fault? I mean, I guess it's his fault for specifically seeking out a disabled wife that would necessarily create children like this, but...
Like, she didn't say, I want water, or I want a cup of water.
No. It was, and...
I was excited to meet his kids, then I realized it. Well, the problem is the kid he has with her is probably going to have some issue too, because she's assuming she's actually autistic, isn't just like woman autistic, where she just says that.
I would try, like, I wanted to work with them and teach them to do things. I had to teach her to wear clothes. She was naked in the house, totally.
This is some... What?
Naked. Had never worn clothes inside the house. And
never.
So
okay, wait. Whoa, buddy. This is some advanced child rearing techniques. Some people think I'm crazy about some of the, like, I'd say I want to, like, not live off grid, but like live outside the city. My kids are going to dig ditches all day to learn the value, like, whatever, like jokes, like micro schooling and stuff. But I don't think I'd go so far as the naked system. Like Varg doesn't even do that. Varg doesn't do that.
I had to like try to.
That's weird. That's so inappropriate to invite somebody into your home with your kids naked. That is so inappropriate, JF. Jesus fuck. Okay.
And they had this armchair, and like she would go to the bathroom and then like go sit on the arm of it, and like the chair was covered.
And she didn't have like the proper hygiene, obviously. What the fuck is wrong with him? Okay, so that would have been overwhelming. And listen, we're not making fun of the children at all. This is not their fault.
No, you are. I mean, you kind of are, but just whatever.
It's just the reality of you need to understand what 10 out of 10 walked into. And imagine
can we tell this lady 10? But yeah, that's pretty crazy.
And like that would be that'd be awful.
Raised by wolves. Oh, dude, what if he takes like the Vargian theory that autism is like our natural state before we were domesticated, and he's trying to raise them like as if they're raised by wolves to create the new Romulus and Remus. No, Varg doesn't do that. Varg's kids aren't naked. Because he used to, back when he still had a YouTube channel, he used to post videos all the time of him, like, outside. One of the funniest ones was him teaching his kids how to do the home gang, which was what Vikings used, not Vikings, like Norsemen used to do settle disputes, is they'd have, like, ritual combat.
And you don't have people there.
Yeah, and like the I would try to work with the kids and teach them things, and the boy is now 3, and he like is just learning to say, like, he'll hold up a ball and be like ball, like he
at 3.
Yeah, like a few months ago, JF was like, oh, he says about 10 words
at 3.
Yeah, that's not normal. But
and he's not potty trained. He's not potty trained. Like he doesn't even seem aware. Yeah.
Now, does JF? Does he's obviously aware that his children have some going on. He must, and because he's got his PhD and he's really good with education and all that, he spends a lot of time helping.
Varg is kind of based. Varg is very based. I mean, the whole pagan shit is gay. But yeah, he acted in self-defense. He stabbed the guy in the back 13 times in self-defense, man. It's all there.
He understands that there's some issues, or no?
He told me I'm the problem.
All right. Well, that's not helpful.
And he said their IQs are at least 115.
Based?
But can't sleep all at 3.
Yeah.
And don't use toilet paper. But use the chair of the arm.
Hey.
I mean, whatever.
Hey, they could be geniuses. They could be... I don't know. I don't even know what my cope is for that. But hey, there were a lot of 150 IQ people who didn't use toilet paper in ancient Greece. Okay.
I guess that could be just a lazy kid. But I mean, also you would expect that he would be correcting that.
He is embarrassing on Twitter. There's some old streams I did where I went over his cope about blonde hair and brunette hair. That was really funny.
Yeah, and when I got there the first time, the girl, her hair was like in dreadlocks. It looked like it hadn't been brushed, and I started trying to
Cultural
brush it, and I had to
appropriation.
cut out like 3-inch sections of hair that was matted.
The poor little girl. Did she must have hated getting her hair brushed then? Like
At
I would hate it to hurt.
first, at first, yeah, but she did to some.
Okay, this is pretty bad. She did a good job. She did a good job discrediting herself in various ways in the first 10 minutes of this. But a lot of these details are too specific for me to think that they're entirely made up. If even half of this is true, it's pretty bad.
Degree to the extent she could. She did bond with me, and I'm very fond of her.
It does make me wonder, though, because Child's, it's interesting. When the police showed up to JF's house, he was perfectly respectful. He talked to them. Everything was fine. It was only when Child Services almost showed up that he packed everything into the car and ran away. Do you remember that? He had that whole crazy stream where he's like, I got everybody into the car, and then I drove all the way to Alberta, and I talked to the Chinese lawyer who did a magic ritual from the great Jade Dragon, and the Huangdi saved me from the Child Protective Services. Like, I don't know, some crazy shit like that. And it was because of CPS, it wasn't because of the police. And this might be why.
I did volunteer with special ed kids at one point, so I kind of I like them.
Right, that's good. Well, that's lucky for JF because you could have been somebody with a short temper. Yeah, you could have. Did he put them at such risk by inviting the stranger at home? It's like, especially with the difficulties they're having. Mm-hmm. Okay, Holly, I'm gonna jump off for a second and let you do the talking, and you can read some comments. I'll be right back.
Get the transcript.
Okay, come back. We're gonna go lean into the Alora stuff. Okay, and you're okay. You're okay. 10 out of 10. You're feeling comfortable. Okay. All right. I'll be right back.
Okay, sounds good. So we do have some questions from the audience. I figured I would keep them while you were talking, not to interrupt the flow of conversation, because we're all 100% locked in on what you're talking about. Yeah. It's really interesting to hear your interpretation of what happened, because you're a person that actually was there. We're just seeing tidbits and we're just watching things on the internet, and then of course
birth certificate, legal recourse, neglects his okay, hold on.
Up with him if I die.
Okay, fair enough, because I don't either.
Yeah, because he neglects.
Okay, so this is starting to kind of explain why she didn't want his name on the birth certificate, is because she saw that the kids were not being treated well, or they were not being cared for, and so she's worried that if he potato mashes her or she just dies, then they're going to go to him and he's going to neglect them the same way she viewed him neglecting the other. Okay, her story is starting to come together now. She's starting to sound a little more reputable. She kind of dropped the ball at the beginning here. I'm starting to get on board.
His kids, they have cavities and he doesn't brush their teeth.
Well, you were talking about how the children, they're saying one-word sentences and they don't understand communication. Would that partially be from the fact that they were neglected and ignored and not spoken to?
I don't know. I think there are different reasons people can have something like that. But yeah, neglect can cause things like that.
Yeah, because from what we understand, he spends basically all day and night online or coding. And then sleeping during the day. And he's mentioned that he's trained his kids to kind of sleep during the day and
that's not good.
Be up at night. But if they're up at night with him, he's on the computer. So what kind of interaction is that with your father? So that's, to me, horrifying.
But that's just your theory. Can she attest to that?
So first major takeaway, JF's baby mamas would not trust him to take care of their kids. Noted.
That's true. How many...
I don't care about the fucking pay pigs.
You do have... Because you had documents from immigration, right? He had.
I didn't have documents from him.
Okay, but you did. You know for sure he had 3.
Oh
wives.
Yeah, I had documents from. He was going to immigrate to the U.S. Yeah, right, I had those.
Okay.
So he had 3 wives, right? Or legal wives, and then he had kids with one of them.
Yeah, he had a son with the woman he was married to in North Carolina.
Okay. And then a daughter too, right?
Yeah. After he left North Carolina, he went back to Quebec, and he met a woman online and had a daughter with her.
Okay, just want to make sure that so there's those 2 kids, your child, and then the 2 that he has. So the only child he has contact with is the 2 with the missing mother.
Okay, what? So the only child he has contact with is with. So yeah, there's other little Garepis out there, but they're not being raised by him. Okay.
Yeah, that's shocking. Okay, continue on, Holly. Sorry.
So this comment here was about when you were talking about having preeclampsia. There was a lot of.
Okay, I don't care about your pre-post autismoclampsia or whatever the fuck. Not giving leverage. He was threatening. Okay, hold on.
Birth certificate conversation. So good for you for doing that and digging your heels in and standing your ground. Then when you were talking about how he was threatening that he was talking to other women, that's his normal pattern of behavior.
Yeah, that is his normal pattern. And he's done that publicly before. There was one point where Laura left and he was going to do the Wheel of Fortune for girlfriends or something. Just something happened. Yeah, he's 5 children, but he only has 2 with. So it's kind of crazy. It means that he has more children that he doesn't see than Ralph. By like a lot. By at least 1 extra kid, right? It's not a good look. God is so gross. You're the one Okay, hold on. Eating.
I've been waiting if, something happens between us. And he was like, oh, no, I'll never be with another woman after you. You're the one. You're special. And
yeah, but how do you believe that from a guy who has, at this point, 4 kids with, 3 other women, of which 2 he doesn't see any? Like,
it's so gross.
And I believed him.
I know.
Why?
Kind of. We have everybody watching has eaten somebody's bullshit because it makes us feel better about our situation. So that's terrible, though.
Okay, and
he's been doing it for a while. Like I said, when I upload that recording, I go over his the girl that got adjudicated to be retarded, like mentally incompetent that got taken from me. He's been doing this since he was at Duke.
So they were talking about the birth certificate. JF doesn't strike me as a guy who would have been this big on government documentation of having.
Well, he is so that he has rights to the kids. That's why
his name on the birth certificate, because he's such an edgy guy and anti-government.
Yeah,
so it's interesting to hear that he was so passionate about something like that. And tying into that, JF, this is all the birth certificate conversation. JF sounds like the issue is ownership. Answered already, but what was JF's appeal?
Well, I have autism, and he claims that he has autism, so we kind of bonded over that. And I like that he was intelligent.
It's all. I mean, JF is intelligent, but is that all the only amount of intelligence you need to have to pull the alleged autistic 10 out of 10 GF?
So.
Well, he does. Listen, I mean, I would not hate on him. Like people, I think some people think I'm just like I've got like tunnel vision. I just hate it.
Well, you guys have tunnel vision because he's like the most prominent thing you've ever done. He's the only thing that you do that anyone watches. Like, just come on.
No. He inserted himself into our stream. First of all, we were just looking at the case very lightly. One time.
Okay, no, then he didn't. Whatever. I don't care.
And then the more I looked at it, and the more I looked at everything, I just thought the way you talk about Alora is disgusting, and the fact that you don't care where the mother of your children is, and that's my obsession. That's my obsession. I want to find the truth out for Laura and for her kids.
Well, JF probably is actually, at least just very slightly autistic. I don't know about this lady.
But also to protect other women. Like, and he just keeps putting himself out there and talking about how he needs to mate with people and spread his semen all over. He needs to stop. He needs...
That stuff's funny, though. That's the least problematic stuff he says. Because that stuff can at least all be coped about a joke. The problem is having 5 kids, of which you don't see 3 of them. And not marrying, like not actually getting married and being a husband.
A vasectomy.
You know, when I was with him, I was just kind of thinking, well, his love for me will win out. He'll let go of all that stuff and just realize that it's silly. But
no, I mean, at this point, it's like, come on.
You know.
Yeah, but you should be loved like that. So it's not too silly. He's
should be. That's a normative statement.
An idiot. Yeah, and he did lose a really great woman.
How do you know? We don't know anything about that. Like, come on, like this stuff. This like woman. Like, I don't know. Like putting up the walls and this undermines her credibility. Like, she lost me a bit at the beginning. She started to pull me back in. This gay shit starts to lose me.
So that actually is a good segue to Mr. Scott Awesome sent us a Rumble rant.
This is all his fault.
That says, this JF series was not my fault.
Yeah, it was all your fault. You literally started it.
Mr. Scott Awesome.
Okay, can we... Okay. I'm trying to get to the actual good stuff. Yep, the house looked terrible. I'm a provider. Yeah, okay, he lied. Oh, hold on. Here was money.
I'm like, oh, okay, let's look at what you're providing. Yeah, but...
Well, and one of the ways that he won me over before I went to Canada was he told me that he made like $7,000 or $8,000 a month, and he started...
Okay. Hold on here. How much is that? Let's be generous here. $8,000. So he's making $5,700 a month. Buddy, that's below the average household income. It's a shame that that's the way it is, that we live in an economy like that, but... Oh, boy. Where's my autistic gene? That's nothing. Like, this guy makes $50K. I know it sounds like crazy. It's just funny to me. It's funny to me that Vox Day can write the article about JF, and apparently the fake autistic 10 out of 10 just goes for him. She's probably got something else wrong with her or whatever, but
love bombing me with money. Like he would send me thousands
so you
of
felt
dollars.
security because okay, way you just said that sounded real gold diggery. I'm not gonna lie, but when you told me that,
that's not gold digger. It would gold digger would be her giving an actual impressive number.
You said you liked the fact that he was secure financially.
Yeah,
great, but he wasn't. You weren't. Literally
Doesn't she say later though that he's actually poor and doesn't have crypto?
Digging that wasn't actually
no, he just made me think, oh, he can take care of a family, and he's like, I can take care of you for the rest of your life.
Right,
but as the
he knows all the things to
relationship
say.
progressed, he started contradicting that. Like,
No shit.
you know, I would ask him questions about like adult things we need to deal with, like how about a life insurance policy?
Yeah, Dog Zero has silver coins. Rip that out, ladies. Exactly. I have shirts with racial slurs on them that increase in value. Come on.
Policy, so I'm taken care of when you die of a heart attack from being fat, you know. And he's like, he said he doesn't believe in life insurance policy.
Oh, but he believes in birth certificate. He believes in everything when it works.
Okay, no, there's some. Okay, life insurance can be kind of a scam. There's an argument he could give about
Speaking
that.
of fat, you did send me a video. I think we should just real quick while we're getting into this.
Oh, we've got
send me a
one more.
video. Oh, okay, sorry.
A couple more. So when you're talking about sleeping in that horrible room, the chat.
I don't care about the installation. Let's see here. I'm panicking a little bit. Weird habit. Hold on.
Right now, it's newborn, so I don't know how long we're gonna have her. So you were saying you did tell me that JF did have one weird habit. What does he do now? And you did send me a video. And I'm gonna show that video after you explain. I want you to. You don't just tell us what his habit was. It's weird, right?
So a lot of nights he would like wake up in the night and go cook himself a meal in the kitchen. And he reminded me, like, if you've ever seen Charlotte's Web, if you've seen the scene where Templeton the rat goes to the fair and eats everything, that was JF in the kitchen at night.
That's it? He eats at night? I mean, that's not good, but... I'm going to sift it, because some of this is just... I don't know. Just kind of a woman moment, you know? Hold on. There were oh, okay, hold on.
There and everything's there. What a fucking weirdo, too.
Yeah.
What a weirdo to invite you in the home like that. Okay, so that's uncomfortable. Okay, sorry. There was cameras in the pictures and the photos that we have from the homeowner that bought the house. There's cameras in the living room and a camera in the bedroom, right?
Yeah.
You were aware of these cameras? Now, did JF tell you why those cameras were there?
He said they were there because Alora...
Okay, he said this before. He said this in the Dax interview, that he has cameras like in every room, and so he has proof of everything that's ever happened. It was very strange.
It was crazy, and he was afraid she was going to kidnap the children, and I was like, why would anyone kidnap those two?
Okay. Well, I mean, it wouldn't be kidnapping to her kids. Like, he's a fucking weirdo. But
well,
he actually, because that house is tiny. He
gives words his own definition, like kidnapping and
stealing.
He says I stole Bitcoin. Well, let's
talk about this.
Bitcoin. And then when I didn't put his name on the birth certificate, he asked for the Bitcoin back, and I said no, I'm not giving it back to you.
Yeah, because you already know he's not going to pay child support. He's made that abundantly clear on other streams over and over for years. He will not pay child support. So okay, so that's crazy. So question.
Well, I mean, if he gave you the Bitcoin under the condition you do something. I mean, it was dumb of him to give it to, like, again, this is why you have to get married. You have to actually make oaths before a higher power that can hold you accountable after you die. Like, that's stupid.
During the release, did the kids ever mention...
He's a control freak who needs to know and see everything. Yeah, 100%. No, he knows exactly, like, JF knows exactly what he's doing. And yeah, he's some crazy pathology. And that's why, like, you know, whatever this lady had, whether it's autistic stolen valor or just low IQ or whatever, that's why they fall for it. That's why it was like funny when I was like, oh, you only make $50K a year and that's enough to get the autistic GF. And then you think about it a little more and you're like, yeah, but do you really want whatever's coming with this, you know?
Laura, did they ever talk about their mom? Did they ever say mommy or anything?
The
autistic, allegedly 10 out of 10 GF.
Boy's not capable. He doesn't know what a mom is even, or
he was just 10 months, right? When
and he doesn't know his own name hardly. The girl, JF, so the girl started calling me mama right away. And JF said, oh, she wanted to
mama,
do that.
As in mama JF?
No, just like
mama. That's so
as in her mother. And you know,
right away.
Yeah, and JF said, "Oh, she likes you. She wants to call you that." But I kind of wonder if
it's just like slotting a new Lego in.
What a
new stick of RAM.
Weirdo. That's weird. And he was fine with that. He didn't think there was any boundary issues. Like, it's fine.
No, he was like, "You're their mom now."
That's crazy. Did JF ever give you like a warning? Like, did he ever say, "Okay, listen"? So Laura's like, she's obviously taking off. I don't think she'll ever come back. But if she does, this is what we're gonna do.
Nope.
That's weird. See, because I feel like any normal person in that situation would have had a plan, like, you know, because she could have returned, right? If she really just ran away. I did want to show you this video here, I think.
Oh, right before you do that, we did get a $10 Rumble rant.
I don't care about swampy boy. Who's sending these people money? I'm gonna play this video, JF talking about Alora. I think I know what this is.
Emotionally in the house.
Oh,
and here's a question. I think you are
not that one. It's left. Like how are things emotionally in the house?
Oh, it was always a good relationship between her and I, and so things were not different. She had already left for trips like this, so it was not the first time, and it was something that she was planning many weeks in advance. I remember in the last month before she went, we constantly went at Canadian Tire and other places because she wanted some stuff for her trip. She wanted a little seat for the forest. She wanted a knife. She wanted this and that. So we were shopping a lot, and she was really intentional about this trip.
I mean, credit to JF for just confronting, like, going on the...
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't exactly... I mean, he probably felt safe because it's like, what are these ladies... Are they really going to get him, you know, right? But
so that's what he told us about Alora's disappearance. And he says in there that she's done this before. Has he told you that she had gone on these trips before?
Trips like going away.
Who cares? Like, we know he killed... Like, I just kind of take it a priori that he killed it. Whoa. Whoa. That he killed her. Like, I get what they're rhetorically trying to do here. They're trying to create a contradiction where he said that she did regular trips, but now he never assumes she's never going to come back. But... Oh, here we go. The drive.
Actually, just tell us about that drive. Tell us about that drive, and then you can tell us about what he told you about where she went. Okay. So when you were driving in Alberta, you'd been here now. This is your second trip here, right? Or was it still your first? And it's late at night. You're driving down a rural road.
Yeah.
With this man that you kind of still getting to know.
Right.
And he decides this is a good moment to tell you what.
He said, like, it was silent. It was really eerie.
It's going to be a Riz moment.
Out of nowhere, he's like, I used to beat Alora.
Oh, boy. Okay, this is the worst way you could have told this story because they even presented it in a way that it's not believable. Where it's like, really? He's just driving down the road at night next to a railroad and then says he used to beat Alora? Okay, I mean, JF is always, like, he says stuff as jokes or stuff that's not a joke that he presents as a joke, like killing his wife and stuff. But one thing you can't... He's very, like, meticulous. Like, there's a reason he didn't get caught. So really? Like, he just tells you this out of nowhere? Like, this is...
He used to beat Alora.
Yes.
And, okay, what did you fucking do? Like, is that terrifying?
I acted...
So that's it. He just says, you're just silent, and then he just says, I used to beat Alora, silence.
Calm.
And did you say how or why or?
I did start asking questions.
Like what?
I was like, well, how often? How hard? And he said,
"That's what you asked."
That as hard as he could, at least once a week. I think more than that.
So he admits to you, driving down a rural road at night, that he beat Alora severely, at least once a week.
Yeah.
Did he tell you why? Though, like why? Like was it just like, hey, it's?
Is it just me or does this make no sense? He's driving with this woman that he doesn't know very well. That he's like, this is the second time she's come out. I mean, I guess the pitch is that he did it at night on the road so she'd have nowhere to run. And so it's like intimidation. So it's like, be good or I'll beat you. But she's not fully committed yet. This is pre-insemination, right? I mean, that's the other problem. What's the timeline here? Did you still get inseminated after he told you this? Or is this surely this is post-insemination? Right? Surely this did not occur, and then you were like, all right, let's have a kid, right? What?
Tuesday, time to get your fucking beat on. Like, what was the reasons behind that?
He said because she would call him a pedophile.
And he thought that would calm her down, right? Is that what
he
thought that would calm her down? What? What? So this is like,
So he explained he would beat her like that, and I was like, oh, okay. And he was like,
and I was like,
understand.
oh, okay. All the stuff about the kids, the feral kids, the way she told that, I believe it. Like, that sounds like JF. It fits with the condition of the house. She had details. This, I don't know. This is crazy.
And
what a fucking creep.
And he said, he's like, I had to do that. I had no choice. And at that moment, I was like, oh, he killed her.
Why would he tell you? Like, okay, so like I said, I kind of take it as priori that he killed her, right? Why would he then ever say anything he doesn't have to about Alora that's negative? right? Why would he ever say this? Because it's like there's no other witness other than him and Alora, and he's taking care of the other one. Why would he ever admit this?
Because I think he was telling me that to test my reaction to that. And the next thing he was
like, we're not talking about Ralph gets drunk and says something he shouldn't hear, right? Like, that shit happens. Like, you know, Ralph, like some of these guys, they'll get drunk, they'll get on whatever and say shit they shouldn't say. But that's not like JF. Like, JF seems pretty meticulous about that. I remember Mama JF did used to have spurking episodes where she thought JF was a previous ex who molested her. Yes. He did an interview with, I forget, some other guy. It's a clip everyone's seen. Where he sees that guy on the camera and then chimps out and then says that he was like trying to kill her. I don't really know how to fit that into this story though. Like she definitely was like disabled. Like she was a spud. Like she was disabled, right? JF didn't kill Mama JF. This bitch is lying. JF is a king and has 5 white children. So JF does have 5 white children. I'm kind of leaning towards this bitch is lying about this story in particular. Ralph is on the stream. Look. True. Hold on. You're right. Yeah, he is.
Going to do was tell me he killed her and be like, I had no choice. That's what I had to do.
Holy fuck. I'm so glad that you got away because that is terrifying. I do believe he was testing the waters. That to me seems like it. I mean, I've done that, not with murder.
Testing but why would he ever admit it to you? Why? Why would he test the waters at all? Why wouldn't he just never tell anyone? There's no proof. It's just something everyone kind of knows but can't prove. He'll never have to prove it to you. You seem to already believe he was a good guy. You had flown all the way out here for 2 times and were about to get had already been or about to be inseminated. So it's like, why? Why?
And not with missing people, but I've admitted, like, you know, some shit you're not proud of with your new partner and you're like, yeah, you test the water, right? You say something without going full fucking crazy. So, okay, so that is really upsetting. So everybody in the chat, I can see the chat's lit up. Yes, this is now confirmed.
Like, I would not be super surprised or indignant about if it was revealed that JF had hit Alora because she was like very clearly disabled. She would go crazy and he would just lose his cool, right? What I have a hard time believing is that he would get in a car with this woman who is the second time they've met. They're driving and out of nowhere he tells her. Like JF is the kind of guy who comes across as he doesn't tell you anything he can't control for. Why would he ever introduce a contingency by telling this sensitive piece of information that could come out like this? If this person ever breaks up with you or ever does whatever, which has happened to him before, 3 times before, and then tell them.
The JF is admitted to beating her repeatedly because she constantly called him a pedophile. Yeah. And this pedophile stuff, she'd been doing that for years. That wasn't something new. She did that back when his dad died.
At his dad's funeral, he was looking at his niece, and I guess Alora started saying he was a pedophile because of the way he was looking at her.
That's
and he had to leave. They had to go back to his mom's
Alora
house.
felt like that.
No, I don't know.
But so that's a few years ago. So she'd been doing this.
Yeah, I do know there is some evidence that Alora had said stuff like that before.
She knew. Obviously, his reaction is probably not going to be favorable. Now, so when I was thinking about that, I was thinking, okay, well, what the fuck, Alora? If you thought this, why would you leave, right? So you and I were talking.
Like if she had told this story differently, if they were like in the house and got into an argument about something plausible, like maybe she confronts him and is like, you got to tell me what happened to the last woman or I'm out, right? It's like, we're getting serious. We're talking about insemination. I need to hear what happened, right? And then they get into a screaming match. And then he's like, look, we had a bad relationship. I kept hitting her because she kept calling me. Like, if we were talking about that was the story, way more believable. That in a highly emotional moment where he has to, like, do something to keep her, that he says something like that, I would believe this more. But this whole out of nowhere, we're on a drive and he decides to just spill his spaghetti about something that could sink him for no reason, I don't get that.
Talking, and you told me that he said that Alora had gone the trip before, the last time she...
Is that anyone is retarded enough to... Yeah, I mean, you're right. There's so many things in this that you think would never happen and then do, so, yeah.
Left when she reappeared on the stream. Before she finally disappeared. He told you what? Where did she go?
Alora went to a shelter for battered women, I think in Montreal, and she got kicked out because there was like a trans person there, and I think it was a man that turned into a woman, and she was like, you're not a real woman, so they kicked her out.
Just hold on. I just need everybody to hear this. So, okay, so Alora has escaped. She had to leave without the kids because he had cameras in the house. So she had no choice. She had to leave the kids. She goes to a women's shelter. She goes to Montreal where she knows, she has a little bit of a base of support there. I think that's why she would have picked Montreal.
I don't care about this.
Alora does turn up dead. that fucking woman's shelter because a man with a skirt on took pride.
Yes, the whole trans shit hurts women. Totally agree. What does this have to do with whether JF killed her or not?
It'd be really hard for you. If it was me, it would be hard for me to admit that he'd said these things.
I mean, yeah, based on the JF, obviously.
Absolutely fucked. And I love that I appreciate that you told us this because I think it would be really hard for you. If it was me, it would be hard for me to admit that he'd said these things.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't. Not if you're out. Not if you're a country away and you're trying to like get something out of this year you've wasted and a child you're left with. No, it wouldn't be hard at all. Like you could say whatever the fuck you want. I don't know. It sounds like I'm sweeping for JF, but this particular aspect of it is just there's parts of it that don't make sense. And it's not because I don't think JF would ever hit Alora. Like I totally would believe that. But the story of how she was told is so weird.
Because it did put you in a bad spot. Like, fuck you, JF, for putting her 10 out of 10 in that spot, too. That's so disrespectful on so many levels.
Yeah, and, it's like I'm going to have to go to therapy.
And she said, you're right. I made that whole point. Like, keep this in mind as we listen to it, Mafia Cow. But yeah, she said she's still in love with him. She's still in love with the guy who just told her out of the blue that he beat his previous wife regularly, and who his previous wife thought he was a pedophile, and she said, I think she murdered him.
Now, but
I'm gonna have to go to therapy. Oh.
In my mind, I compartmentalized the stuff he would do.
Yeah, you had to probably.
Yeah, and
I don't know. Maybe this is like the Godwinson thing where you just surround yourself with idiots all the time, so no matter what happens, you always look better. And so you just only ever invite women in your life like this, so that even when they tell the truth, it's hard to figure it out.
Because there was a side of him I thought was in love with me, and
well, he wouldn't have been all that bad. He would have, he couldn't be all evil. I understand that you fell for him, and I do believe he probably has some charm or something that he does. So that's really
falling. She said that at the beginning of this.
And we did get just another Rumble rant.
Okay. Jeff was going to go to the States with the kids and you, right? That at some point that was going to happen. That was the plan.
Right. So the first time I went to Canada to meet him, my plan was only to stay for 2 weeks, and he was going to drive me back to the U.S.
Right.
And so we packed everything up and drove to the border of New Brunswick and Maine.
Okay.
And we tried to cross, and when we tried to drive through, they told us we were going to have to pull over and go into the building.
So did get questioned or whatever?
Yeah, and they ended up interrogating him for 8 hours.
On the Canadian border, really? I mean, sometimes that just happens. Not for 8 hours, but sometimes you're just the wrong guy, and you just get picked. It happened to a friend of mine flying back from Europe, and they searched his bag, and he had nothing. But on the Canadian, the physical border, I mean, it's probably just because he's flagged, right? Because there's an open investigation technically. She looks so crazy sometimes in some of these pauses.
Holy fuck.
Oh, shoot.
So, and but you were stuck with the kids, right? The whole time or what?
Yes, and they were screaming.
No shit.
It was terrible.
What did Border Patrol say to you? This is, I think, amazing, and it makes me wonder what Border Patrol knows about the whole situation that RCMP here or not.
No, it's just they flagged his passport. That's it.
Really focused on?
So while they were interrogating him, they sent one agent over to talk to me. And at one point, one of them who was talking to JF turns to me and he's like, do you know about his history? Do you know about his record?
What the fuck, dude? Why are the RCMP not this is what pisses me off. It takes simply we are what, Polly and I are wine ants. Numbered. I can't even put air in my own fucking tires for God's sakes, okay?
Precisely.
It's not like, RCMP could have figured this stuff out and they should have.
They have no physical evidence, lady. I get that Canada's retard says it's common law but really isn't type state. But when you have no physical evidence,
interrogation or something. So they wouldn't let him in at the end. Is that what happened? They said he's not allowed in.
Yeah, and it wasn't
the authenticity of his POA. The power of attorney.
Yeah. I think of the notary, because at the end they're like, well, I guess you're going to go with him.
Oh, shit. Yikes.
They didn't want you to go.
Yeah, they probably just flagged, the RCMP probably just flagged his passport as having an open murder investigation, right?
But they have to watch. They probably have rules. They have to stick by.
Now, the fact that they can do that for 2 years, have it still be flagged on him for 2 years, even though it's clear that they've given up, is kind of fucked. Again, not to sweep for JF, but just as a general procedural matter, that's kind of fucked. But
they can't do anything unless you say that you want help.
And I was sitting there kind of why are they acting like this is so dire? It was they wanted to tell me to go.
Wait, what do you mean, why were they acting this is so dire? This guy told you he beat his wife and then you concluded that he killed her.
Away from him. immediately.
So at that point, that is before the whole fucking he tells you.
Oh, this is before. Okay.
Laura.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So just so everybody's clear,
2 weeks after I arrived in Canada for the first time.
That was what he did. Well, shout out to the Maine Border Patrol people for not letting JF into the States and for trying to warn you, even though you weren't ready to hear it. What did your mom say when you told her that part? Did she say anything? Was she freaked? She must have been flipping out.
Well, when they took our phones away for the 8 hours when they were interrogating him, and when I got my phone back, my mom had called me like 20 times and left messages, and she thought he.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
I got goosebumps. It makes me sad because.
Okay. So when you're in the U.S., you come back. Second trip back. Here we go.
Came back or whatever. Now, when you were at the house, this is obviously the second trip back. Is when when did you return again?
In September of 2024. Yeah.
Okay. So you went there and you guys were hanging out at the house, just sort of like, I don't know, living, I guess. What were you doing there?
Surviving.
Really? That's fucking, I can't believe you came back. Okay, so you came back and that's when you got pregnant. Is this the trip?
No, actually, I didn't get pregnant until
Okay, so you got pregnant after, because recall, it was during the second trip that she was told that he beat her. And she's saying she didn't get pregnant until after that. So you were told, you were taken on a midnight drive and told that this guy regularly beat his previous wife who thought that he was a pedophile. And in that moment, you concluded that he had killed her, and then you got inseminated.
Oh, right.
December of 2024.
Okay, so you came back in December, or you came here in September 2024.
Right, and I stayed until January of 2025.
Was that the plan for you to stay that long, or was it because of chaos?
And you stayed with him for another 6 months. Or what? September, October, November. 6 months, 5 months.
I was allowed to be in Canada for 6 months.
What exact month did the midnight drive happen in?
Once in a year. So I had been there 3 months earlier in the year, and then I was going to be there like.
Okay.
Thank you, Bondi. Okay, so what happened when were you guys planning to move when you guys? I know the move seemed sort of spontaneous to everybody else, but was there a plan for you guys to move right away?
No.
so tell me what happened that day? Like child welfare and the police come to the house and.
This is the flight to Alberta.
O'Leary PEI knock on the door. And what happened?
JF asked them, he's like, do I have to let you in? And they said yes. And they came in and they were looking around kind of horrified. And they started talking to us, and they were talking to me, and I don't know, I don't even remember exactly what was said on our part, but then the social worker was like, the kids are so young, in like response to how he had moved me in so quickly.
Right. And did they meet the kids?
The kids were sleeping.
Oh, okay. So they didn't get to see their development or anything.
No, they were.
And that supports her contention. They sleep during the day too.
Going to come back like Monday or something. I think there's a Friday night.
Right.
They're going to come back Monday.
And that's when.
Okay. So tell me how.
Okay.
So they leave.
That's this makes sense. This part of it makes sense.
What happens? How does JF react? What happens? Like, because you guys left pretty quick.
Why did his wife think he was I don't know. Well, I mean, Laura was crazy, and she had said that before. I mean, I'm assuming that wasn't nothing. Like she had some reason to believe that something was wrong with him. My point, though, is that from this outsider, from this other lady, she shows up. He gets taken on a random midnight drive on the railroad tracks. Is told, "I beat my wife, and my wife thought I was a pedo." You internally conclude that he's a murderer, and then you stay another 5 months and get impregnated. Like what?
Well, he started crying, and he wanted to go upstairs with me, and we laid on the air mattress, and he
in the insulation room. Real romantic, JF.
He wrapped himself around me like a coiled snake and was crying.
Oh God, it's so unattractive. Okay, fucking man up and figure out what you're gonna do. And then what happened? What was it, like? Did you make the plan? Like, we gotta get out of here, or was that his idea?
No, like
he's crying. He's emotionally broken.
He decided pretty quickly that we needed to leave, and he wanted me to pack everything up. And
that lucky.
I mean, that I could
like,
pack everything up.
And what did he do? Did he go? Is that when he got a new car, or like swap the cars?
No, he didn't swap cars until I think May of this year, and I was already back in the U.S. at that point. I haven't taken a ride in his minivan.
Okay. Okay. So you guys, you're gonna leave. He packs up. How many days is it till you guys are on the road to Quebec? Is it like a day or 2 days?
It was that night.
Oh, you guys. Oh, he didn't even take like a full day or two to pack. He was.
So you just criticize him for not like sacking up and taking charge. It sounds like that's exactly what he did. Is he decided we're getting out of here? I guess that was German. I bet House would do a good JF. But yeah, he's like, we're getting out of here, and then packs everything up and leaves that night.
Just like a couple hours, he was like, we have to leave now.
Guys,
And-
everybody think about this in perspective. You know you have a weekend because, the government's closed. Wouldn't you would think you would at least take a day and pack your shit up a little bit. He was like, no, right now we're leaving. We're running away.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all. I think he fucking freaked out because he did not want them anywhere in that property. Not just because of the kids. I think he is because of whatever happened to Alora. And I think that freaked him the fuck out. Because that's not a normal reaction. That just isn't. And if you've got nothing to hide, you hide nothing. So you guys drive to Montreal to his mother's house, right?
Yes. He didn't tell her we were coming.
Oh, fucking, he's such an asshole. All over the place.
He was like, he said, my mom always takes me back.
Kino. Based mom moment.
Yeah, I bet she does. That's he's such a self-centered fucking asshole. All right, so poor mom's now bombarded with JF on the run from child welfare.
What do you expect her to do? It's her son.
Welcome to Montreal.
And her grandkids, no less.
Or like, that has got, because kids like that definitely need a routine and structure, so that would have been stressful for them.
Yeah.
Okay, these kids aren't even awake during the day. Like that, any hope for structure is long gone.
And so how long did it take for the cops to show up in Quebec?
Like a month.
A month? I thought they came. Oh, so you guys stayed at his mom's for a month?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, I thought the cops showed up right away. And
so she's just along for the ride for all of this and doesn't have a problem with it. It was only when he asked for his Bitcoin back after the birth that she. What the fuck?
That's why people were freaking out. Okay, so about a month, and then wow. So they showed up, and what did they say?
They said they wanted to see the kids.
And you had already gone to Alberta at that point, had you?
Well, this was the first time.
Yeah, that's a good point. What does mom think of the feral grandkids? Because they would have seen everything you did.
The cops came. They said they'd gotten a call from inside the house, and
was that his mom? I think it was his mom.
I don't know.
Okay.
but so they came, and the police just looked at the kids to make sure they were physically there. Like, they didn't interact with them or anything. Right. And JF quickly started saying, we have to go, we have to pack up. And he kind of bribed me to do it because I was so tired. I kind of wanted to go home. Mm-hmm. And he was like, you know what, I'll take you to, what is that hotel I told you about?
Well, the Fairmont. He took her to the fancy one, guys. She got to the Fairmont.
Wow. That's it? That's all it took to buy you off from this guy? This guy is literally running from the fucking police, and all it took to get you to stay along for the ride was a nice hotel? You broke bitch. And no wonder you were impressed by him making $50K a year.
Right.
He was like, let's go to the
No wonder you were impressed by him making... Oh, wait, there's a pattern here. Hold on. Thinks that him making $50K a year is impressive. Is able to get bribed by a night in a fucking hotel. Only betrays him when he wants his Bitcoin back. Like, what?
Fairmont, you can go to the spa there. And, I guess he was just trying to get me to stay so he could inseminate me. And...
Okay, so now we have confirmation that she was not inseminated until after all this. After running from the police, after being told... me right now. After being told that he allegedly beat his wife every day, after being told that his wife thought that he was a pedophile, after concluding internally that he was a murderer, you were like, yes, I will be inseminated.
He's so disgusting. There's nothing grosser, dude. What the fuck?
He started panicking. He's like, you have to get your stuff packed right now. And I was really tired and just like, I don't know if I can do this. And so within an hour, he said we have to leave within an hour. And we fled his mom's house and drove to the Fairmont in Tremblant or something. I don't know. The mountains.
Yep. Okay.
And we were kind of, I guess, hiding there. And while we were there, I was stressed out. And he was like, you can go down to the spa. So I took advantage of that, and I went down and spent the whole day in the spa and ran up like $1,000 bill for him.
Which is like $500. That's all it costs. That's all it costs is to get the insane will make up insane lies about you, quote, 10 out of 10 autism GF is make $50K a year and spend $500 at the spa, and they will literally flee the police and bear your children for you. How does anyone have an excuse?
Nice.
Good. Well, that's good. So when did you guys decide to go to Alberta?
While we were staying at that hotel and I was in the spa, he was in the hotel room, I guess, trying to figure out what to do. And he was like, I think I can, get away to Alberta or Saskatchewan. And, he was just, I guess it was a last ditch effort.
Right. Because he just really didn't want.
Maybe they pop pills. I mean, she did talk about Ambien earlier. And when she says, I'm, quote, tired.
Tell her to come talk to his kids.
Yeah. And I agreed to do it just because I was like, well, I kind of like to see Western Canada.
You're running from the police and you're like, yeah, it'd be cool to see Western Canada.
YOLO. Okay, well, that's fine. Whatever you did.
She can't even go. She can't sleeper, and she's like, "What the fuck?"
Probably good because honestly, it probably made it safer for the kids to have somebody who's there who's
and
or not panicking and shit.
Right, and I loved him, and I thought I was
at least you were keeping your cool, bitch.
With him, but it's all very complicated.
No, of course. So you guys, okay, so you take this long
course.
journey to Alberta. What a pain in the ass, because that is a long
She's
trip.
losing me. She's really losing me.
So even just going through Ontario was a bitch.
Yes.
It's so long. So you get here. The first house he finds falls through, whatever, fine. You find the second house, you don't have to say where, but just you found the second house, you move in, and he leaves you? Is that what happens? He leaves you to go back and get his shit?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So that must have been great for you to be left with two special needs kids in a freezing house. Province.
She was. It's maybe it's the same freezing cabin that PPP was in. She got taken over by the Grift demon, and now that's why she's on the show.
I was ready to kill him.
No doubt. Back. So once you were there, though, the police and child protection did show up.
They did. There were two police officers who showed up, and they just kind of looked at the kids, and they're like, "Well, they seem happy, so we're used to seeing kids who are like chained up eating from dog food bowls on the floor. Everything seems fine."
So he got cleared. Because we didn't know that until now. The story until now, my understanding was he like straight up quote lost them. Like he fled so far that they just didn't show up again. Now you're telling us he got cleared?
Right. So the kids seem fine, and so they just left?
Yeah, they didn't look at them. They just were like, "Oh, she's cooking for them. She's keeping the house clean."
Because that's basically, when you guys see like animal rescue.
This is looking more and more like yeah, I guess, but like then why would she? Because the whole he told me I beat my wife and she thought I was a pedophile thing is so bad if that's true. Now the way she told it is ridiculous, and like I pointed out multiple times why it doesn't make sense to me, especially because she then ran away with him and then got inseminated. And it is the only, I'm going to bring up JF's response. It is like the claim that he says is absolutely untrue and then doesn't care about anything else. Because honestly, everything else is just sort of like the two things that are really bad here. Like as far as sector standards, obviously, like there's a lot of little things here, but the two really bad things are the beat my retarded wife every day. And she thought I was a pedophile claim. And my kids are literally being raised by wolves like Romulus and Remus. Like those are the two bad claims. The one about the kids seemed pretty reliable the way she told it. The claim about he told me that for no reason that I beat my wife or that I beat my previous wife. That sounds stupid to me.
Yeah. As long as the animals got like the very basic needs. They're not going to interfere. So they were doing this as a favor to Quebec or PEI or COP and child welfare. Okay, so it's probably also why they didn't take it seriously.
No, that's what? Why would that make them not take it seriously? It's a issue of child welfare.
Did that? They checked, left.
That doesn't make any sense. What she just said.
Everything's good. Eventually, JF comes back.
Yeah, and he thinks that he's a hero, and like,
this is huge, everybody. This one's huge. Sorry,
it is kind of huge. He got cleared
when he bought that house. You told me something amazing. This is fucked up. Everybody listen to this. He wanted you to put the house in your name, right?
Yes.
Even though it would have been paid off, you still said no. Because why?
Because I didn't. I didn't want to be legally responsible for anything he might do to anyone in that house.
Yeah. Well, also,
like if he lures some girl there and I don't know, ties her up in.
How can you say that and then also say, but then I agreed to be inseminated by him after this? Like, the way she's presenting this is, why don't you just say, I didn't want it to be in my name because I just wasn't ready for that commitment yet. And then later, I eventually became ready for commitment, and that's why I had his kid. But at that particular moment, when he wanted me to encumber myself with a financial asset, I wasn't ready to do that. Don't say, well, I didn't want to do it so that I'm not liable for his murder dungeon. If you were really thinking that, if you were really thinking this guy could potentially have a murder dungeon during this point in the timeline, then how do you explain you being willing to have his kid later in the timeline? This is what I was saying from the very beginning. The timeline here of what she was thinking, what her relationship with JF was, doesn't make any sense. And it makes even less sense she started this by saying, I'm still in love with him.
In this basement, I could get sued if I'm the homeowner. My father was an attorney, so I think about these things.
Right, smart. Okay, so because we all know that JF wanted somebody else.
My father was an attorney, so I think about these things. Smart.
His name on it because he didn't want that asset. He didn't want the asset all in his name because he has debt collectors and child support he owes in the States and Canada. Mm-hmm. So what my question is, how did he get around that? What did he do?
He went to a lawyer.
Oh, this is the the Big Trouble in Little China lawyer who summoned Huang Di, and they sacrificed a green-eyed girl to buy the house or whatever.
And he said that he found a loophole and a way to get the house put into Laura's name.
So the house. Okay, guys. So like, think about this rationally.
The house is in Alora's. What? That's some. Okay, that is some like sacrifice an emerald-eyed girl to do ancient Chinese secret type trick. That's kind of crazy. How did you do that?
If Alora had any, if there was even the tiniest risk of her returning to come get those kids, because everything's his, right? Everything's his.
Mm-hmm.
Is he gonna fucking risk his biggest asset? Is he gonna risk it by putting her name on it? No, he would only do that if she was not ever a risk of coming back. The fact that he put it in her name.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I already think he murdered her. Like, you don't need to convince me of
Name
that.
is so fucking mind.
You need to convince me of all this other shit you're saying.
Blowing to me. So the house he lives in right now has Alora's name on the title.
I mean, that's what he told me.
And that's fine. And I tried to find out. I did try to verify.
Yeah, why isn't that public? Shouldn't that be a public record? Just look up the deed.
Right, but you can't, Alberta. They won't tell you current title owners. They won't give you that information unless you have like credentials, and I don't have them.
You're telling me there's no one in this sector. Hold on, what kind of credentials do you need?
So I think that was stunning. That was terrifying to me.
Because that should be a very easy thing to find out.
What did you think when he told you he put it in Laura's name? Did that give you? Was that a red flag to you or no?
It was just such a crazy time. I was like, whatever.
Stop.
But honestly, thinking about it, it's like, well, if she's as crazy as he said she was, then why would he put it in her name?
Right. And during this whole hyper stressful time, did he ever say, God, I wish Laura would just fucking come. It would be good if she could take the kids for a day, or what the fuck is Laura doing? Did he ever because we all would do that. That would be a normal fucking thing to have mention, the missing mother of your child and stress about it. Did he ever do that?
No.
See, these are not normal, in my opinion, these are not normal reactions at all. Like, he should have vented about her.
What is this, lady? Find land deeds, documents, or plans. Search by owner name. What? Why isn't this button working? Title, current, how to get, provide information. What? This is... Okay, I don't think you need... I mean, I don't know what the... I don't know what his information... I don't know what his at... But this looks like something you could have done. Right?
Her or anything.
The only time that he would mention her warmly is if he was mad at me and wanted to manipulate me into thinking or doing something. He'd be like, Laura used to do it this way, and she didn't give me trouble about this.
Because he wanted you to have a result.
He's using every trick in the book, the lowest IQ trips, and she's fallen through every. Every time I pause, look at this lady. Look at Rocky. Every time I pause, we get something like this. But yeah, you're kind of just self-reporting right now, Miss 10 out of 10, because these are all. This is all high school level game that he's running.
Resentment towards her.
He did make me resent her, and I
know he did. When you and I first started talking, you were pretty spicy, and I'm like, we did.
If his goal was to make you resent her, why would he have ever told you that he victimized her by beating her? Again, doesn't make sense.
We did talk for about 2 weeks, and I did say, "Okay, whoa, I hear you," but you are listening to a man who's a liar. If you can't verify it, and I really appreciate you coming on here and not repeating the same garbage he said, because she isn't here to defend herself, and maybe it's true, maybe it's not, I don't know, but you've done really well at everybody on the stream should know from the first day that we spoke to today, night and day, just in where your anger was towards Laura, because you were angry, and I mean, I don't blame you. I would have been angry too if I had that shit shoved in my face all the time.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So you've done really well. Okay, I just really quick, so before you can get to comments and questions here after this, these next 4 things, I just want to ask you, do you believe truly, sincerely in your heart, in deep down inside, do you really seriously believe that Laura wandered away and went off on her own, or do you believe
she already answered this? She said that he thinks he's a murderer.
He killed her.
I believe that JF murdered her.
What is your hypothesis on this? I'm just curious. I have not told you to say anything. I would genuinely want to know what you think.
What I think happened.
Yeah.
I think that maybe she was calling him a pedophile. Maybe he said it was a delusion that she had, maybe threatening to go tell people, and he said to me, he just had to beat her. I can imagine that he was like, I just had to kill her,
Did he say that? Hold on, what?
And like I can see him losing it, like when he's beating her.
Right.
I think he choked her, and I won't go into why, but there's a very
You have your own experiences with him.
So he likes to choke during sex. That's what she just said, by the way. That's the only thing she could possibly mean.
Did he ever hurt you? Really quick though, I just want to clear that up. Did he ever physically hurt you?
No.
That's all she could mean by that.
Okay, good. So you think that he got out of control?
Which is crazy to then jump to that meaning that's how he killed her.
And killed her. Do you? Yeah. How do you think he got away with it? Like, how has he gotten away with it this far? Like, and where do you think he put her? If you were going to guess, just based on your own experiences with him. Sorry.
Well, I don't exactly know like the specifics of how he would have gotten away with it. I have, suspicions, but when we were driving out of PEI through New Brunswick the first time, on the side of the road.
She likes getting hurt. Well, who? Alora? Or because what she implied there is that's what he likes to do is choke. That's the only reason she would say that.
In New Brunswick, when you're driving through, they're like forest, woods, and JF was being really creepier than usual. And he looks at the forest, and he looks at me, and he goes, if Alora wandered into there and killed herself, no one would ever find her. She wandered like a mile or two.
And then everyone clapped.
He's such a fucking.
That's interesting.
And it was like
Why would he ever say any of that to you? Like, obviously, Jeff's been very cavalier about his wife disappearing. He basically admitted to it on the Dax interview. He basically admitted to it with, Richard Spencer. Again, I personally am convinced. But the way she tells some of these stories, just out of nowhere, he said that to you, that one person he needs to keep in sort of like the information bunker.
I don't know, the way that he said it and like the way he looked, it was like a kind of a strong reaction, almost like
he drove past wherever she was, maybe.
I think that possibly we did.
Holly's chomping at the bit. Holly's got to tell you something. Hold on.
So during our live stream, he did mention that because we were talking about how, well, why haven't you gone to look for her? Why haven't you narrowed down the area where you dropped her off, et cetera, et cetera? He made the comment. He goes, well, I don't have the time or the resources to go search a 2 square kilometer location.
Oh.
Yeah, he's very specific about that, and that's not the only time he said that. It's happened a few times now.
2 square kilometers in Brunswick, which
again, and you said 2 squares. So I mean, New Brunswick's still very big,
right?
But I mean, that could be illegal.
What are you implying here? What would that even mean? 2 square miles? He's saying 2 square miles around his house. A lot of things could happen. She could have been thrown off the bridge. She could have been buried somewhere. She could have been fucking dissolved in acid. Who the fuck knows?
I don't know if they're going to do a lie detector, maybe because they did ask him to do one, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
But they never followed up with
it. JF enjoyed being here. Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, but I kind of know somewhat how his mind works. And if you think about it, he'd driven from PEI to Quebec through New Brunswick several times. Right. So he was if he did snap and kill her, he was aware that there are forests on the side of the highway. And if he's thinking,
okay, it wouldn't have just been on the side of the highway because that would have been too easy to find. There are dogs that are trained to sniff that out. And that would have been the first place they look. If they even did the most rudimentary, we don't give a fuck type search. I mean, there was a national bulletin out for her. Where
am I going to stash her body? I mean, that's a pretty good idea. That's a good place to put it.
Absolutely. And I mean,
That's why I think it might be over the bridge because then it goes into the Atlantic. It doesn't wash up anywhere, and they're not going to get a fucking dive team. Well, that's the other thing. They didn't get a dive team. It could just literally be she could be at the bottom of the fucking under the bridge. I don't know.
We're thinking about because we were trying. We thought of every speculation, everything. So when he, how he took 3 days off to clean the house and get rid of her stuff, which he definitely did not do because her stuff was still at the house when he.
Yeah, and she still got knocked up by JFL. Exactly. That's my whole point. Is the timeline is crazy.
There, and that 3 days definitely could have been body removal. And I mean, he had a 3-month head start with the RCMP.
Yeah, and I wanted to add something else about the body removal. Mm-hmm. You think, well, how would he drag the body of a 150-pound woman out in the woods,
especially with his physical?
Yeah. I would sometimes walk into the kitchen and he'd have bought a chicken or something and he would carve it. He would dissect the bones out of it and
I know a lot of people think that.
Their knife set they had pretty.
Okay, so you just destroyed whatever point she's going to make here by saying a lot of people who do that. That's pretty common to get a rotisserie chicken and cut the or even an uncooked chicken and dress it. That's a skill that you would have if you live kind of off grid. Well, I don't know if JF's necessarily off grid, but my point is, whatever it is, whatever he did, you just said this is a normal skill. So what is your point?
Fancy knife sets in their kitchen, and there were some big knives missing.
Yep. Oh, they were missing. See, we had a guy. God, Blaine, if you're watching.
Yeah, Blaine.
I looked at that. Remember in my stream, I pointed out the knife set, and I was like, "Are any of them missing?"
Blaine was all over that, and I thought like, so the knives were missing. They were missing from the knife.
Yes, and when
the car ride where JF told her he beat Mama JF was probably him describing what they did for sexual, maybe. But then why would he say that it was because she called him a pedophile? Would that just be something we think that she added?
we got to Alberta, this is also something that kind of I don't think is normal. We saw like a dead deer or something on the side of the road, and it looked like it had been killed by some kind of predator, like ripped apart. And JF like looks at the side of the road at it, and like his eyes kind of spiral. He circles back around and he pulls up on the side of the road, and he's like looking down at the animal, and talking about how it died, and he was excited.
What is this?
Speaking of weirdos and excited.
What? I mean, if there is like, especially people who live in like rural areas of the country, like in the Midwest or like the like the plain states and stuff. If there's a carcass like of a deer, like a big one on in the road, I mean, you should pull it off the road. I mean, there's ways to do it correctly. There's also ways to like dress that correctly. In some states, it's illegal actually because they're retarded. Some states, it's illegal to get roadkill and then have it be processed. I don't know. I don't want to get to too much details. It's a whole fucking thing. But I don't know. I don't find that too crazy, the idea of pulling it off the road. And I guess her claim is he didn't do that. He just went full like scene from Mindhunter, where he like goes to the deer and then it like he's looking at it and then it like zooms into his eye and then all of his murderous fantasies play out or something. Smash cut to credits, like this is episode 2 of the series before it's all revealed.
Because this is going to be involved in whatever documentary they do about this fucking movie. You told me the creepiest thing about JF. I'm sorry to anybody if anybody's watching as this as a hobby and you're a teenager, I'm sorry, but I think it's fucking creepy. So you told me that JF was socially awkward as a teenager. I was really looking for information about a head injury. You didn't have that. That's fine. You didn't have information on that. But what you did tell me, what did he tell you he did as a hobby as a teenage boy?
He used to breed fish in his room.
Okay. And he had a bunch of aquariums?
Yes.
And he played God with fish. And he would try and like mix the species or what? Like,
yeah, that's like speciation. That's like how we just, discovered an entire field of science is by doing stuff like that.
That's a fucking weird thing for a teenage boy to have a hobby.
No, it's not. What the fuck are you talking about? That's like a high IQ thing to have as a hobby, is that you take care of animals and you like, you have multiple generations, especially fish where the generations are short. But what's wrong with that?
Most teenage boys be like sports and masturbation. Let's be honest here. They're not going to do
your boring show will be on. Yeah, exactly.
Breeding fish. No. I've never heard of a teenage boy.
No.
That's fucking weird. And then he turned around to look at a dead deer and got out of the car.
What is this? This is retarded. Like, can we focus on the two claims that actually matter here? That he maliciously beat his wife for calling him a pedophile and that his kids are like feral Romulus children. Like, those are the two claims here that actually are something. And instead we're talking about how he had a wholesome fish hobby pet.
And taking the knife.
He was talking about how it must have like been ripped apart and stuff. It was like its body was in half, and he was just like.
And he wasn't grossed out by it?
No, he was excited.
Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, nope. See, this is why I wanted them to bring a cadaver dog into that house, because there's that tiled area. Like, yeah, he is Mr. Scientist. He probably could have got rid of most blood, but if blood goes into one crack, you got blood splatter. It doesn't matter. He's been beating her severely. There would be evidence there. There still to this day would be evidence. They can hit on if the dead body was.
I don't know. We don't have enough details to know anything about that, Rocky. He could have done it outside. Like, I don't know. Like, again, I'm someone who's personally convinced that he killed his wife just purely from, like, deductive reasoning that there's really no other explanation. But I don't pretend to know exactly, like, the series of events of how it occurred. And it's because we don't know anything about how it occurred, why there's no physical evidence, and why he's not going to get convicted until they find any.
Right? Even if the body's been moved years ago, they can still hit. So I wish the RCMP would just take.
That was so weird that they think it's weird that he had fish as a pet fish and that he had them, like, speciate. That's not... Like, that's based. Like, that's based in high IQ. What, you'd rather him be playing video games? You'd rather him be smoking weed? Like, when I was in high school, I was drinking and fucking doing stupid shit. Like, I don't know. It would have been way more wholesome to be speciating fish.
Take a fucking cadaver dog into the house. The owners have said you can go. Just do a search. Okay, start there. I don't know.
Well, and something else kind of weird. The daughter, she's not very articulate. She is delayed in speech and stuff. And at one point, I was just kind of, I guess, my curiosity got the better of me, so I pulled up on YouTube a video of Laura and showed her, and I just wanted to see her reaction. And she couldn't express herself using words, but she became upset and like started.
It makes me want to cry.
She started stomping her foot and whining, like trying to tell me something. That was what she would do when she.
So you showed her what? Hold on, what? So you you just showed a video of her mother to the kid. Of course they're going to be upset. They miss their mom. What the fuck are you trying to prove?
Just trying to tell me something. So, you know, like that house is so small.
Sad. Oh no, the kids would have heard
Yeah.
it for sure.
Yeah.
He was beating her regularly. I'm sorry, but
all of this is so discrediting. Like the first 20 minutes, there's a bunch of stuff in there where she says she's still in love with him that's discrediting. Then there's like the one part of this that was sort of believable was when she was talking about the kids, because she had a lot of details. It was like there was no timeline issues. It made sense. Everything since then has just either been random female whinging about nothing, about like nothing burgers and just bullshit, or random like wild claims that don't sound very reliable, combined with an insane presumption of timeline that all this was occurring and you knew it and got inseminated anyway.
The house is tiny.
Well, yeah, and you know, the daughter, she didn't say much, but when she would be spanked, she would say, "Hey, don't hit me." And I looked at JF one day and I was like, "Is that what Alora said when you beat her?" And he looked down at his feet and he's like, "Yeah." So
not beating the sexual allegations there. Oh boy. Also, why you're not going to say why he was spanking his kids? Because there's like the whole debate about whether you should ever spank your kids. I think that it's okay if you have like a very specific way that you do it, that where you like never do it in anger and you explain exactly why it's occurring and like, you know, what the sentence is and everything. But anyway, the point is, even if you don't think, like, you're not going to talk to us about the context around why he was spanking her, you're just going to just bring that up out of the blue, like, oh, while he was spanking her.
So she remembers.
Because she doesn't say very many sentences, so that was
no.
That's
she
so
said
sad.
her
That's
first.
heartbreaking.
She said her first complete sentence at 3 because I'd been working with her. She said, "I see you."
How do you know that's her first complete? You just showed up.
That's really fucked up. I'm sorry, but it is. Like, my God. It's like
Did he confirm that was her first complete sentence?
I mean, like I said, my kids were telling me off. Other people's 3-year-olds have told me off. That's not. I mean, again, not making fun of the children. That is just JF shit.
That's exactly what you're doing. Again, just whatever. Just lean into it.
Then,
you ladies are trying, like, you hate him, partially understandably, and so you're trying to take him out, and it's good for the channel. Like, just
really working on that. That should have been his priority. Why does he have these kids if he is?
Because I've been working. Yeah, well, she's LARPing as like a developmental therapist. She never has used, to be fair to her, she's never said developmental therapist. But the way she talks in this whole interview, she's like, well, because I'm autistic, I like working with this, like, you know. And it's so funny when people do that. It's like the therapist that has a longer diagnostic list than the person they're talking to. If anything, I think it should be the opposite. It should immediately disqualify you. It's like, no, you're fucked up. You shouldn't be trying to. No. Like, you're broken, right? But yeah, she keeps using that terminology, like, I've been working with them, like she was trying to teach them or like or whatever, because she I don't know, like I said, she has this not pathology, she has this idea that because she either has self-diagnosed or someone told her that she's autistic, she can like fix these people.
Doesn't care. Like, he's like Mr. Genetics. Oh, speaking of genetics, I didn't do that one either, Holly. But he said to Holly when he was on our stream, somebody had asked if he had the 10 out of 10 take genetic testing, and that you did take it. And what did he say about her?
He said the chat came in is 10 out of 10 white, because he's all about the white nationalism stuff, and he responded and said, "Oh yes, yeah, I had her genetic tested, and she was 100% white."
Did that happen?
He didn't ask me to be. I just did one of the 23andMe tests at one point because I was just curious about my ancestry.
Okay, so who cares? Whatever.
Okay, so he took ownership for something that had nothing to do with, as usual.
Okay, whatever. And she's German. I don't care.
Your dad was an orphan from Quebec. That
hold on.
Mine was German, but because it was like German and French, he goes, "You know what? I think your dad was an orphan from Quebec that got sent to the U.S. and like he's like, I know you're part Quebecois," and I was like, "JF." Yeah,
this is like cute couple talk. What the fuck? This is like high school level game. Like, I don't know what.
Well, he would trick himself into believing his own.
Like,
we were destined, though, in another life. Like, you know, right?
And to believe it, and so like he started this.
Oh, in a previous life, we were totally like friends, or I don't know. It's like this is just
thing, and he called his mom and told her like, "Oh, Lindy's part Quebecois and stuff."
Wow.
That's shocking. The whole thing's shocking. I've got goosebumps. I feel so.
What? Why is that goosebumps? Again, it's just like high school level game.
Like upset, even though, and I do want the chat, you guys. We need to get.
We're destined to be together. Oh, you're the German to my friend. Like, whatever. Like,
they are held accountable, and we can find Laura.
He is the one who is deluded. Like, he can convince himself. what he wants them to be.
Yeah, no, dude, he was playing God with Fish as a teenage boy.
He was speciating. Again, that is how whole fields are. I don't know. I agree that JF has like a control thing. I agree that there's some fucking pathology there. I agree that I think he probably killed his wife. Like, all these things, I am not like a JF sweeper, but this interview fucking sucks.
He's weird. There's something wrong with him. I am amazed, though, about the block. Okay, so the knife block. They were expensive knives?
I would say so.
Did you ever ask him where the knives are? Like, when you're doing the dishes?
No, I guess I didn't. It was really chaotic.
Right.
Taking care of the kids and trying to do stuff. And
well, the whole house was like kind of falling apart, so it would have made sense if it's not like the house was pristine and then there was just a knife block with missing knives. But I do find that interesting, and I did have somebody who was in our Why Not group, and he was really keen on this. They never brought anybody out there, which is so fucking.
They never searched the property.
I mean, they've never once searched the property where she was last seen. What do you think about the sighting, too, really quick?
That's crazy because I mean I don't even know what the search warrants look like in Canada, but they're definitely less strict than here. Like in the U.S.
The supposed sighting that she was seen in Nova Scotia or New Brunswick. What do you think about that?
That was a fucking Buddhist temple. We all know that's not real.
Well, I
went over that.
There are ways that it could have been, falsely reported. I think.
Right. Specifically, you said something.
No, that's not even the way you just whatever.
All kinds of things. So like,
whoa.
Like if you wanted to, you can like get on there and pay people.
No one. They're suggesting that JF hired a guy on the dark web to call in a false report. He probably was, okay, assuming that that's how it happened, is probably just some guy in Discord who was just like, well, wouldn't it be funny if they saw Laura at a Buddhist temple?
And crypto to do all kinds of things. So like you can hire people to kill somebody, right? It's
no, you can't. There was one listing on fucking Silk Road 15 years ago about a hitman. There was one listing and there's never been a murder that has ever been like associated with it that was ever real. It was just a joke thing. Dude, this is like what you did in high school is you go on Silk Road and order like a pallet or not a pallet, a sheet of LSD and it shows up in its fucking Barney stickers. Like it's just so stupid and out of touch.
It isn't.
If anything happens to 10 out of 10 JF, just fucking know I will actually show up at your house. Like, so
great, make an actionable threat. What a fucking these people are dumb. No wonder JF's winning. JF's not winning because he's he's some incredible genius or he doesn't regularly report on himself. It's because his A-logs suck.
Your Bitcoin.
But yeah, he could have. Well, he doesn't have much left.
But he could have paid for.
I thought you went out there because he was financially secure.
He could have paid somebody to call and
because I've asked the RCMP to verify. I've begged
to
verify if that sighting was verified by cameras or it was just hearsay or what. And for some reason, I guess they're so busy. They've just never been able to reply.
And I'd just like to say to the other ladies out there considering being the JF, he's handing out Bitcoins and beatings and he's all out of Bitcoin.
Holy fuck.
Oh, we love you so much.
That is so great. He's handing out beatings and Bitcoins, but he's all out of Bitcoin. Yeah, no, ladies, this is not the man you want.
I cleaned him out.
Good job. I'm glad. Good for you. I'm glad because
so why would you ever say this? What you realize you are just destroying yourself as a witness by saying shit like this. By saying like, I was in it for the money. I cleaned him out of his Bitcoin, and that's why he's mad now. Like, what the fuck?
You did it for your son. I think it's great because he will never pay child support. Where's the Allura thing here? This is very important. I should have had this up most night, but whatever, I didn't. If you have any information, please contact the RCMP.
Yeah, that's gonna help at this point.
Well, that's Allura. She's eccentric. She is definitely not.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Is this it? Oh, here we go. This is a good question I've wondered.
Going back, I have another question. You met Allura's family. Because a lot of people do have questions like, why isn't her family speaking out? And I've gotten real angry about it. What was her family like? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I'm getting that feeling from Rocky, too. The thing is, like, JF's an easy man to hate. Not even if you're a woman. Like, because I get, like, yeah, I get it. But they're just not it. They're just they're just incompetent. And there's so many things that they can, it's not just that 10 out of 10 came in here and discredited herself. She did in a lot of ways, but they contributed to that. Like when they congratulate her on quote, cleaning her out. It's like, do you not see how that's an adverse incentive to all of this? Do you not see how like, if that's even partially true, it fucks with the entire timeline that you're trying to present here? Like,
they spoke French and I speak English, so I didn't communicate with them a whole lot, but they're kind of like, I got the impression they were detached and like these hippie liberal boomer types. Right. And they just like, they have a Pink Floyd poster up in their house.
So her parents don't care about the disappearance of their daughter because they have a Pink Floyd poster in their house. That's the best you could come up with. There's so many ways you could explain why the parents don't care, both good and bad, making them look all sorts of different ways. But because they have a Pink Floyd poster in their house was not what I was expecting.
Right.
Like, these are the kind of people they are. Like, they're adults with rock band posters. If that's, you know.
Did they seem to buy JF's story? Did they care? Did they seem worried? Like they wanted to know where Laura was? Or
I don't think they care.
And you said that JF said...
Yeah, why didn't you just lead with that? Why didn't you just be like, you know what? I got the impression that Alora had been a problem for them their entire life, and they were just done. That's it. That's all you had to say. That would have been plausible. I mean, it doesn't make them look good. It makes them look like pieces of shit, obviously. But that would have been kind of plausible, like if we're really coming in here to tell a story, right? But, well, they had a Pink Floyd poster, so, you know, they gave up, like, fuck their daughter. Like, what?
This is so fucked up. But you said that JF said to you that, and I don't, can you explain, was he amazed? Was he shocked? Was he what, when he told you about the parents seeing her with bruises?
Yeah, he said they would see her with bruises, and I think they said something to him about it.
150 IQ, unemployed Widnet podcast, retard fucker isn't the man you want, real insightful. I know. It's so funny that partially through this, they keep saying, it's like, trust us, guys, like, JF ain't it. It's like, really? No shit. Like, we needed to convince any, like, that's not, we're beyond that. That's not the point of this anymore.
And,
or it never should have been.
But they didn't ask
just
her?
Left it at that. I don't know. He didn't say, like, he wouldn't tell me if they...
Right. Yeah. So hopefully they did tell the RCMP, but I mean, the fact is that they haven't been looking. They don't care. They don't want, I'm sure they care at some level, but they're not, we have been in contact.
The problem is they started looking 2 months after she disappeared, and that means it's never going to get solved, like statistically.
But they will not engage. The brother, he showed the most interest out of the whole family, but they couldn't even tell us one good thing about her that we could relay.
Oh, the brother must not have a Pink Floyd poster. He must be a Smiths fan.
Streams. They have no interest in this, which, you know what?
This charming potato. This charming potato.
I get you don't want to be on stream. You don't have to go on the stream. But you could say something nice about your daughter. You could participate in the missing persons group. They don't see the kids regularly or check in on them?
No, JF told me that, like, he would send pictures through email to her parents of the kids and, like, update them. And her parents don't even respond most of the time.
Whoa, showing JF to be again, why'd you say that? You just made him look good.
Yeah, so that's why the RCMP, I don't think, have been acting, is because she doesn't have a hysterical family demanding answers. So we need to do that for her. I feel sorry for her.
We need to be that for her. Again, there's a fine line here between public service and autistic crusade. Okay? Again, I'm not a JF sweeper by any means, but I don't know, Rocky. I think you may be getting lost in the sauce here.
For her, she couldn't have been more isolated than she was.
It's a hysterical one.
Heaven knows I'm a potato now.
Finance on the internet.
Yeah, I'm not dropping it. I'm not dropping it. I need to know what happened to her.
Yeah. JF told me at one point that her parents hate her. So, I don't know.
See, this is what I think. He's such a creepy, because he probably said that shit to her.
Wow, she's mad.
Her too.
Yeah.
If it's true or not. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just like, I just feel so bad for her because she was so isolated. And then she goes to, I could just cry when I say it, the whole story. She goes to a women's shelter and she has her own beliefs.
Yeah,
She's
we've heard this.
Like, somebody's going to have to be held accountable. Besides, that's true. I will never let that go.
Yeah, and like I do think I have something good to say about Laura. I think that she was, from what I've gathered, she was very sincerely interested in right-wing politics. She was a really big fan of Owen Benjamin, and she would watch his streams. And to this day, JF hates the Pink Floyd music that Owen Benjamin would play on his.
What is with Pink Floyd? Why is Pink Floyd a character in all
streams?
Oh, because he did say that about. Remember, he said about like hippie stuff, and he would get flipped out.
Oh yeah,
makes sense. If Owen, so she used to write to him, is what you heard, right?
Yeah, JF told me that Alora would sometimes write to Owen about his shows and just.
And then Owen did do a stream that is no longer there. That he was just being really rude.
Owen,
if anybody can find that stream, I'd love
the catharsis of the catharsis of acceptance.
love to see it.
Yeah. Owen Benjamin did a stream.
I gotta write that down. I don't want to forget that. Hold on. That's gonna be a stream title someday.
How he thought JF killed her and just about what a total slime ball that JF is. He called him a gamma male, which if you look up gamma male, it does describe JF.
That's
he thinks
so
he's an alpha male, but after reading about
I'm so disappointed. I thought this was going to be better. Everyone was fucking talking this up. And I don't even just mean Kino Casino. They always say everything is, whoa, this is it, right? But other people were too, but this is so dumb.
I have to say he's a gamma.
It's so sad. The whole thing is so sad. And I just, listen, I love you 10 out of 10. Thank you so much for coming on. Holly's going to ask you.
Well, and at this point, like, I do feel like I have an obligation to speak.
Yeah, because you got your money. You have a quote obligation.
Yeah, because that could have been me.
After spending 2 hours explaining how you're just straight up a gold digger.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad it wasn't. Thank your mom.
How do I know you're not just extorting more money? How do I know that you're only here because you sent JF an email saying, give me more money or leave me alone or else I'm going to go on a show? Like, I'd believe that at this point. JF could provide no evidence, just say that. And I would at least find it plausible.
Your mom. Even if she pisses you off.
Big up to your mom.
Disable.
Because
yeah, where is the penis talk?
JF is going to tell the next girl that I'm
that's not gay. But I'm surprised they didn't go there is kind of what I mean.
crazy, just like
he's already started. He's already started.
Is Mama JF and Bear Tart? That's a good theory. Maybe she is.
He started. I've seen his Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah, don't look at it.
Clearly, she's not crazy, guys.
I have to piss. I'm just going to let this run.
Yeah, big ups to your mom. Tell your mom that the Real Housewives love her for having really good instincts and taking care of you.
And yeah, and just like, not being like, I'm going to punish you by not helping you as a baby. Like, you need that. So good. It's great. If Laura had a mother like that, things would have turned out very differently, in my opinion.
Yes, well, that's why that young girl from Texas was saved as well, because her father stepped up.
Yes, and cared and fought hard.
And he fought hard to get her back. So thank God for good parents out there.
Yeah. Okay, but any more comments?
Yeah, so I've got a whole bunch starred here, and they're from way back because we went on a little further. So this is talking about the kids. Messerschmitt is wondering if you measured the kids' heads.
No.
Okay, that's a Morgan. That's a reference to Morgan trying to prove. No, just don't even go into that one topic, Holly. Just don't go.
We're not going to go into it, but I wanted to share because Messerschmitt is one of our.
He's such a brat.
He's such a brat. So thanks for sharing your story. Did you get any murderer vibes from Jeff? And I think we did cover that with the drive, with him stopping.
Yeah, we just hadn't gotten there yet.
Yeah, there were moments, you got a feeling like sometimes when he was angry, he would have a look on his face that was pretty scary, like not quite human, maybe something you'd expect from Ted Bundy. But, I would tell myself, oh, well, he's intelligent and he just feels emotions more deeply and he doesn't mean it.
Right.
Oh, God,
all right, what I missed.
Yeah, when we're in love, we tend to look past a lot of things.
Yeah, and I really was in love with him.
Blasting. That's what got Laura killed.
Okay, next was a bunch of questions about.
Okay, is this all pay piggery? Did she leave?
Yeah, he did. He did. It's fucking.
He inserted himself into Rocky. Sorry for bringing that back.
Oh. She's like, I can hear you throwing up in your. She sounds intelligent. I would think about that. Just
is there anything else here?
If she did, I don't want to know. I just feel like there's sperm all over him every time I think about him.
Well, his approach.
What did she just say? What did she just say?
He's kind of
appreciated here. The inseminations will continue until morale improves.
He's kind of.
I feel like I just feel like there's sperm all over him every time I think about him.
Continue until morale improves.
He's kind of.
I feel like I just feel like there's sperm all over him every time I think about him.
Continue until morale improves.
He's kind of.
I feel like I just feel like there's sperm all over him every time I think about him.
How do I make a clip? Okay, can we send this to JF? I know that's hold on. Hold the fuck on.
So then there's some comments here.
Isn't there a clip button?
I'm sure you'll appreciate it here. The inseminations will continue.
I'm naming this Rocky's JFG Fantasy.
Until morale improves. Some comments here.
Well, his approach.
I don't think I've ever used this, the YouTube clip function. We're gonna see about this.
Do that. So then there's some comments here. I'm sure you'll appreciate it here. The inseminations will continue.
Okay, so it's like 140.
So then there's some comments.
Yeah. Okay.
Here, I'm sure you'll appreciate it here. The inseminations will continue until morale improves.
He's kind of.
I feel like I just feel like there's sperm all over him every time I think about him.
Well,
and then 140 to 140.14. Yeah, so like right here. Yeah, we'll just do it to here.
So then there's some comments.
Okay, whatever. Let's just whatever. Share clip. What does this do? Oh, it just makes a link. Okay. I didn't know if that was gonna drop all my spaghetti or what there. Oh, play it at normal speed. Okay, hold on. Yeah, I'll do that. Oh, there's a button just for it. God, I'm so bad at this. I'm so bad at Twitter. I don't know anything about how to use Twitter. Just this whole thing is the only thing. The one that got all these features. I don't know how to use. I know how YouTube works, but I don't know how Twitter works because I've never had one before this account. Okay, let me play this at the normal speed. You guys are asking. Yeah, attention Bajoran workers.
Here, I'm sure he wrote that, so I'm just going through that.
G's kind of like get golden cut.
So then there's some comments here. I'm sure you'll appreciate it here. The inseminations will continue until morale improves.
He's kind of.
I feel like he just I just feel like there's sperm all over him every time I think about him. I can't.
Well, his approach.
Look at her. Look at her.
To insemination, it's kind of like on Harry Potter, Voldemort leaving Horcruxes.
I have no idea what that
is. It's just every stereotype with these people. Everything's Harry Potter. Like, oh my gosh.
Is this because I've never watched it.
Okay, move on. So I actually had this question.
I do. I listen to everything. I like Chud Jack's summer playlist.
In a lot of the videos that he was on, he was always drinking Pepsi.
Mm-hmm.
And the videos at the house, there was crates and crates of Pepsi.
Yeah, look,
he's talked about bulk purchasing Pepsi. Now, did you
diet Pepsi? He likes to maintain a girlish figure.
Right,
it's like a middle-aged woman.
I feel like there's just sperm all over him. I know it's
built like a middle-aged woman. I know I'm a middle-aged woman.
Round as a shape.
Yeah. I'm fluffy as fuck. I am, but I mean, I'm not acting like I'm a 10 out of 10 supermodel.
So then Bondi was talking about the gummy candies. Like that was mortifying when we talked about that. And then Rocky played that awful video. Angry. Let's see. Question for later. Did JF ever try to sell you on the idea of his book, The Revolutionary Phenotype?
He's not that into it. I don't think. Like he makes money off it, but I don't. He doesn't. I don't know how into it he really is at the end of the day.
Interesting.
What do you mean you don't know? Oh my god! What do you mean how you don't know? Every other tweet from him is trying to sell this fucking book. It's him talking about how the revolutionary phenotype is going to take over the world. Even I know that. I don't follow, like, what the fuck?
It's something that he always leans back on, is that he's a published author on his science that he invented that's amazing and it's going to change the world.
Then why did you just say he doesn't care?
And he mentioned that to a few times when we were questioning his behavior. And he's like, oh, I've already changed. I've been streaming for 8 years. And there's already stuff that's changed.
We missed something here. We missed something here.
Now, did you
diet Pepsi? He likes to maintain a girlish figure.
Right,
it's like a middle-aged woman. He's built like a middle-aged woman. I know I'm a middle-aged woman.
Round as a shape.
Yeah. I'm fluffy as fuck.
I'm fluffy as fuck.
I am, but I mean, I'm not acting like I'm a 10 out of 10 supermodel.
This Rocky lady is fucking tanking this whole like, oh my gosh.
So then Bondi was talking about the gummy.
Is JF book any? I don't know. I should read it. I'm a really fast reader, so I could probably get. I don't know. Maybe it could be super advanced and take me a while to read, but I might do it. Maybe I should do it just for fun and do like a review or something. I don't know.
Monkey in the middle, where we would throw the ball over the girl because she's like they're kind of out of it. They don't understand much, and I was like, maybe it will help her get in.
Hold on. Postpartum psychosis.
Youngest one was I thought he was another year older than he was back then. I'm realizing now she left when he was left. She was murdered or whatever happened to her. Was when the baby was 10 months old. I think Alora had postpartum psychosis. She gave birth to the baby alone with JF at the house. They never took the kids to the doctor.
So okay, you think that Alora had postpartum psychosis, and you're talking to a woman who just gave birth. Why can't we throw that at her? Why wouldn't JF throw that at her? Like, you've given him so much ammo. Like, okay, here's the response. Like, I've read JF's response. Like, I skimmed it, just the stuff that mattered. I'll bring it up here in a minute. But there's so many things you could say. You could just literally say, like, look, all this is bullshit. No one cares. The only two things that mattered in here were that I allegedly neglect my kids, and that I apparently said that I beat my wife. My kids are not neglected. And, you know, it was really irresponsible for her to even talk about them on a stream like this and weaponize them. They shouldn't be the focus. And as far as this claim that I took her down by the tracks and said these things, that's insane. I have an investigation about looking for my wife. It would have been insane for me to admit to something like that to someone I had only met twice. Furthermore, she agreed to have the kid afterwards. Lastly, as far as everything else she said, she made it very clear throughout the interview that her only motivation is money, both referring to my income and paying for her spa date, and saying that she cleaned me out from Bitcoin. It's very clear that she is primarily monetarily motivated, which is why she went on the show, and I would not be surprised if she continues to try to extort me. Boom, there you go. That's all you'd have to say. And that would be totally plausible. Like, that would be a totally plausible response, given how much they fucked this up.
She never got follow-up care. It was just her alone. So she was having...
Revolutionary Phenotype is about doing an IBS podcast with Andy Woods.
Postpartum psychosis, and all of a sudden starting to think no white guilt was killing her, and she's acting, irrational and whatever, and he's not taking her to the doctor to get her fucking help.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see how this clip feature even works, like, through Twitter. So what happens when we click on this? Oh, it just has the clip.
Some comments here, I'm sure you'll appreciate it here.
Okay.
The inseminations will continue until morale improves.
Gross.
He's kind of.
I feel like I just feel like there's sperm all over him every time I think about him. I can't.
Well,
okay, well that worked better. I just expect things not to work when it comes to these shitty like platforms. But
she probably did say that and really did sincerely mean that. But like, I just feel so bad because how terrifying that would have been for her. Mm-hmm. Plus, it would not have calmed her down. Do you know what I mean? And then her allegations to him, and she was, because if you've seen someone in psychosis, it can be fucking crazy.
It's scary,
right?
Yeah.
So like, she could have done anything if she was going through something like that without support or medication or a doctor. And her mother would have checked in on her or something like that, or she had friends but she didn't. Something like that would have happened. Somebody would have helped her. This could have all been avoided.
Oh,
right.
Monster. 10 out of 10. You are a 10 out of 10. You escaped that dirtbag. And then a question here. Do you know about Kino Casino?
I do loosely know Andy Worski's on there, and he hates Andy Worski.
You and everybody else. Like, the most relatable thing about Jay, everybody hates like PPP hates Worski.
But yeah, I think the feeling's mutual. Did he have a job or anything other than the obligations to the children?
When I first started talking to him, he told me that he was making like $7,000, $8,000 a month doing coding, like contracting work online. Okay. And then later he's like, "Oh, I got fired," and I don't know what he told me was if it was true or not. I don't at this point. I have to evaluate everything he's ever told me.
Scared of the RCMP bugging his phone or tracking him?
I mean, he's paranoid in general.
So
you should tell about the Lolita thing. You should tell about the movie. That's so fucking weird.
He told me that like we would watch movies. And I was like, "Well, do you want to watch Lolita?" And he's like, "No, I would not have something like that."
What? You suggested to watch Lolita? And he's the bad guy for saying fuck that? What? If anything, you look retarded there. I mean, there's a certain defense, I guess, where you say it's a Stanley Kubrick film, it's a piece of cinema history. Maybe you try to come up with some cope about how the original Nabokov novel, even though he was a fucker too, is actually about some... I don't know. Like, you could come up with some intellectualized cope about why it's worth watching. But somehow he's the bad guy for not wanting to waste his time with that shit? What the... Am I hearing this wrong? I'm going back.
You should tell about the Lolita thing. You should tell about the movie. That's so fucking weird.
He told me that like we would watch movies. And I was like, "Well, do you want to watch Lolita?" And
that was your suggestion. So you... Nabokov Sisters, it's over. Yeah, no, I'm not a fan. I especially am not a fan about his ideas about literary criticism. I think he's just retarded. This is a guy who is so like up his own ass that he thought that Dostoevsky was overrated. Anyway, so you met this guy twice. Let's be that generous that this is the second time, and this isn't the first time. And that's your suggestion. That's what you shoot at this guy is let's watch Lolita. A guy who told you that his previous wife thought he was a pedophile. This is like, do you know what this is worse than? Ralph posted like a couple weeks ago, it was while I was away, that he needed a movie suggestion for his date with the crazy girl. And I said you should watch Buffalo 66. And if you guys don't know, it's honestly an incredible movie. Vincent Gallo is a perfect example of like a schizophrenic genius. Like he's crazy. He's fucking crazy. But he's also a genius, unironically. Buffalo 66 is about a guy who, during his prison sentence, told his parents that actually he was like away on a business trip and had a wife and was super successful. And gets out of prison, and then to prove this to his parents, he just goes to a dance class and picks up a random woman, kidnaps her, and is like, "Look, I just need you to go on a dinner date with my parents." And then they get there, and then her parents are just total, like, it literally called out the, like, apathetic boomer mindset before it was even popular among our generation to do that. Because, like, their parents only care about sports. The dad is, like, a lech, and the mom, like, it's just total, like, disordered thinking. And you can see how that created this character. And then by the end of the movie, they actually fall in love. And I don't feel bad, like, describing the plot to you, because what makes the movie great, it cannot be described merely by me describing the plot. There are just certain elements to it and scenes that are just incredible, that are hilarious, and it's just a crazy movie. And it's an insane movie to suggest to watch on, like, a first date. That movie is less crazy to suggest to watch on the first date than fucking Lolita. Like, that's wild.
It's like, no, I would not have something like that downloaded on my files because of who I am.
That's a weird way. That's a weird thing to think.
No, it's not a weird thing to think at all, actually. That's, again, one of the most relatable things I've heard.
Tough thing to say. Yeah. I'm sorry, it is. You're not talking like you were talking about the movie, Lolita, not like.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. That's
so this was from the perspective of the audience. So when you guys were on the move and you were escaping, he was praising your handling of the situation. And he was talking about how you were being so calm and you're an incredible mother for the children because you guys were on the run from the police and the government. He also said that the authorities were testing you. 10 out of 10. Did anything like that happen?
I don't really think so, unless he's talking about, like, at the border when the agent said to me, "Are you aware of his history?" You know, when I was with JF, I had to kind of act calm a lot and just
I'm kind of well, I would never say like overall JF did nothing wrong, but at least as far as things around this interview, like the little shred of sort of, oh, okay, maybe there's like an issue with the treatment of the children or whatever, that she just dug herself such a massive hole with both the inconsistent timeline, the obvious like monetary motivation, I'm still in love with him, everything.
Compartmentalize things, and you know.
No, it makes sense.
I'm gonna be in therapy.
I've been highlighting comments because
I'm gonna be in therapy.
They're so fucking funny. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've been kind of going down here.
Brings up the Epstein thing. That was one of the wild. Every so often, it almost feels like JF gets sort of like jealous that other lil cows are having their time in the spotlight, and then he's like, "Oh, I have to retake the spotlight," and then we'll just say, like, put out the craziest fucking tweet. And one of them is the Epstein one, just out of nowhere. No one was asking for this. There was nothing, and then out of nowhere, he puts out that giant tweet where he explains that, like, we had already heard that he had been offered money by Epstein, but he gives, like, more details about it, and then talks about how, like, Epstein, the real problem was with Epstein was being controlled by women, or like, it's hilarious and insane.
Angina.
Okay.
Okay, and then Fishery Epstein.
Yep.
Possibly. Let's see. His PhD was on lampreys before he atypically moved to monkeys.
Is that true?
Yeah. So he was talking about keeping the fish alive, like keeping their brains alive.
Oh yeah. It's so fucked up.
He had the record for keeping the fish alive for the longest.
And it was unethical. He said he crossed lines doing that.
Yeah, and he was proud of it being unethical.
Yep.
So okay, so Messerschmitt, our boy here, we were talking about being a kid and breeding fish. Messerschmitt, when he was a young man, he mixed sports and masturbation into a new sport.
What? Oh, he's just saying that's normal for teenagers? I mean, look at this guy's picture.
Thank you for that.
I believe
What is this? What are we doing here? Is this over? Fuck this. This is stupid. This was a total waste of time. I wasted I thought this was going to be something big. There's 2 hours on this. All right, well, I'm going to drop that video, that 2-year-old recording, if you want the general thoughts that me and Two Bums by the 5 Freeway had about JF doing that Dax. And I guess it doesn't matter now. I don't even know why I'm posting. It's totally, like, irrelevant now. But if you don't know the story, I guess, as it was happening, I'll post it. This is a total retarded waste. This lady totally bombed this interview. Doesn't know how, like, just had a list of questions and then inserted herself into them over and over in the most disingenuous way. I don't know if this lady's more motivated by, I don't know if she just wants money or she's just that dumb. I don't know. Like, it could be either one. It seems to be a combination of both. She's both dumb, who fell for, like, a high school level game, and then allegedly, according to her own timeline, agreed to be inseminated by someone she thought was a murderer. while also being obviously still be motivated by money until then. I guess the only person coming out of this clean is her, because she didn't really say anything other than manage the stream. So good on you, lady. I know, I'm not gonna. Well, I don't know if it's good on you, but you're coming out of this the least fucked. Yeah, then there's also the drug thing she briefly mentioned. I didn't see anything else about that. What did she say? Ambien? Yeah, she only said it once. Oh, okay. I don't know. I'm just seeing the greatest hits here. Yeah, she got a free spa visit and she got some Bitcoin. Who knows how much? All right, let's see JF's response and get the fuck out of here. So this is the initial one. My ex decided to appear to talk about me, which is her prerogative. Choosing to be a public personality is anyone's choice to make. It comes with pros and cons. Very astute there. True. What she delivered is her interpretation and beliefs about our relationship. Some of it is accurate. You don't even have to say this, man. Some of it is conveniently hides what would make her look bad. Some of it is delusional. I honestly do not have an interest to engage. Yeah, right. Don't talk about all the random shit. You want my side? This woman contacted me and wanted to have babies. True. And she affirmed that she contacted him. We got to know each other over months. She promised me that she would love me forever. And wanted to form the Garapi family with me. Yeah, then why didn't you marry her, dude? She then changed her mind on the day of the birth of our child. Well, no, it kind of sounds like you changed your mind when you allowed her to go through her entire pregnancy alone. And this was the big thing I criticized him at the beginning of the stream. This is kind of when I was starting to believe some of her claims a little bit. Changed his name against what we had agreed. Yeah, I guess that's the other element to this, is that he didn't name her what he wanted, and started acting threatening towards me and my already existing family. Thus, I had no choice but to split. And interesting that he's pitching this, that he broke up with her. In particular, because I had imposed the respect of my already existing life as a condition fundamental to our relationship from the beginning. I'm happy in life with my children, who I care for well, and I wouldn't allow a woman to join my life if it interfered with my existing life. S3131, I'll answer that. That's going to take a bit to explain, so I'll answer it when I'm done with this. I'm happy in life with my children, whom I care for well, and I wouldn't allow a woman to join my life if it interfered with my existing life. I would have cut all this. I did not annoy her about it. If I had, there'd be compromising text of mine, since we were in True. After she had betrayed me, I asked that she either fix her behavior or stop contacting me. Yeah, the problem is she's had your kid. It's kind of not a good ultimatum. She was relieved of any obligations towards me, and we were separated. She kept trying to contact me for about 2 weeks, despite my request for her to stop. That's all. See, at this point, I would have, even if it's not true, not if I was him, but from a sector perspective where there are no morals, you just say she's a gold digger, she wanted money. That's why she, most of our relation, because I believe that. Like, if he had said that in here, I would think that's plausible based off the way she acted in that interview. Much of our relationship happened at a distance over the phone because she lived and gave birth to, yeah, and that's your choice, man. That's the problem. From those who care about the details, here are the misrepresentations. She claims we immediately met without, okay. She claims that I was pressuring her to have babies quit. No, she was falling all over herself for her. She made that pretty fucking clear. She wanted your money. She's just totally, yeah, it's fine. She has all these complaints about our life together and our encounter, but she spent this is the problem. This is the problem with the whole timeline. We said it. You guys in the chat said it. I said it. Throughout all of this supposedly problems, she's there for 5 months at a time, and then at the end of it, it's all still got inseminated. She describes my other children incorrectly when she has not met them or seen them for more than a year. The vast majority of her claims about them, yeah. I mean, he's not going to provide any proof here, but again, she discredited herself so much in most of it that even that aspect of it, where she described the neglect, which I thought was the most believable part, he can just kind of say this. She completely made up the idea that I would have admitted to her that I used to beat Alora the hardest I can, that I had no choice to do it because she was calling me a pedophile. That is completely untrue. I've never beaten Alora. Yeah. I would believe, as plausible, just a priori, that JF could have been physically abusive with a wife who I think he probably killed. But the problem is the way she told that story, the context around it, everything is just retarded and doesn't make any sense. Conveniently, while 90% of our relationship is on phone and on record, my ex made up a story that I would have admitted this during an unrecorded car. Yeah, exactly. See, And also, like, on a dark night next to a railroad track, apropos of nothing, like, not inspired by, like, an argument or, like, a challenge by her to... Because that's what I said. Like, what would be way more plausible is that she confronted him and was like, look, before we take this any further, I need you to tell me exactly what happened with Laura. And then they get into an argument, and then he says that. I could... That would be so much more believable. But no, it's this crazy shit. Considering how unrealistic this narrative is, according to my ex, she would have started believing I was a murderer. Yeah, we said this. But she still continued getting inseminated. Yeah, it's retarded. According to her narrative, she would have continued willfully getting inseminated to get the baby of someone she suddenly knew was... Exactly. Deer scene is false. I did not turn around. We saw a dead deer on the road, and I commented how it did not look like a car collision, but rather a clawed animal attack. Okay. I don't care. Well, also, Lolita's story completely false and invented. Oh, why would you even deny that? That made her look bad, not you. Also, I'm not on government. I wouldn't care if you were, man. Fuck the government. I live from savings and active incomes, but she had no idea of my... Yeah, I believe that. I believe that she wanted to know about your finances. She seemed to talk about it a lot. Hilariously, this ex admits I've never physically hurt her in any way, but she's decided she thinks I'm a murderer and a wife beater of other women. Women will develop when they need to justify taking your kids. He would carve... Yeah, retarded. He's very little bit... Well, whatever. I mean, she said this... Well, and what's worse, and I would have included this if I was him, she said that in the context of I, like, took it all, which is wild. Here's some threats my ex sent to me before she went... Okay, so yeah, this is what I said that he should do. It's just like, yeah, she wanted money. It was extortion, right? You talk a lot of shit for someone whose ex has photos like this of him. You really need to... okay, so she's... Is that a photo of him naked? Because that would be revenge porn. He should just claim. Like, if he wants to go off, just say that. Women are thirsty. Yeah, okay, whatever. Never let them into... abandoning your free... Okay, that's a little gay. That's not what's happening. Okay. JF is this Aquaman with the fish. Is that all about this? Yeah, they totally dropped... Like, Real Housewives really dropped the ball. That interview was retarded. The lady comes across as just an idiot and a gold digger. The most plausible claim she made and the context she made it in is about the kids, like potential neglect. Everything else, like I said, the basic claim that JF may be physically abusive, I would think I wouldn't just believe. I need to know more, but like I'd find that plausible. But the way she said it makes no sense. Is that all we got? I would like to warn that a future hit piece with exclusive pictures of me in underwear may be coming. Oh, so it is revenge porn. Okay. Yeah, and other people seem to be pointing that out. After coming out as a public person to lie about me being a wife beater and a murderer, and after telling Albedo Housewives that she could be back regularly on the show to soil my reputation, my ex is now tapping out. I don't new to be in the middle. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no shit. No shit. And as a move of male empowerment over my body, and in order to steal the exclusivity to those who threaten me to release my underwear pictures, I hereby publish this picture of me in underwear. Go off, King. Okay. So yeah, JF wins by doing nothing, I guess. Right? It's tough. Okay, so let me answer this question. If the sector feels dead, all the good shit posters are gone, what do I think happened? So I covered part of this in the Jub the Nub stream. That I said that he's a big part of it. He's not the only part of it. But what I'll say generally about this topic is there tended to be a sector cycle even before the sector itself existed. And I think this cycle basically existed all the way back to the atheist Christian debates. And I've said before, I kind of want to make not a stream, but like a video. I just go through the timeline because I saw most of it. Not like I'm not saying I'm some like old thing, but I saw parts of it like as it was happening a little bit. And what tended to happen in the cycle, the sector cycle, the churn, is that there would be an ascendant, either show or force. It would start to monopolize discourse in the community. And then there would be an insurgent show whose entire job was to tear them down. And eventually the ascendant show would fuck up multiple times, or inertia or whatever. And then the insurgent show would take it down and then become the establishment one. And you can see this happen multiple times, like literally all the way back to fucking the atheist Christian debates. And the losers don't always go offline forever. Sometimes they, they get a life. Sometimes they move into different areas. But then whoever wins usually ends up splitting on some new issue, and then it continues forever. I would say that Kino Casino has been in that position of the establishment show for at least 2 years now. You could say it's been all the way back since 21. I don't know. There was still some fighting going on then. There's still some, Ralph still had some stuff going on, whatever. They've been in that ascendant position. And through a combination of sweeping and hug boxes, there has not been a good insurgent force against that, being able to be there to take advantage of the mistakes when they happen. And part of that is incompetence on the A-Log's part, which I guess, again, it would be dishonest for me to say I'm not among that, and so I don't take some blame, although I've only been doing this for like fucking 5 months or whatever. But just in general, there's been a lot of incompetence there. It's not just because Josh joined with them, because if you recall, Josh was all up on Dax's shit for a while too, and he fell eventually. The idea is to manufacture scripts. There's always been a little bit of script writing behind the scenes and things. Basically a lack of new characters, generally because they immediately get dragged down into the sewer. That's the other part of it, is the existence of the sector sewer, which is like the sewer under the sector. And I'm talking... You know who I'm talking about, okay, guys? You know exactly who I'm talking about. That drag any new characters down. Everyone immediately gets doxxed, gets their life ruined, crazy gay ops and stuff, Discord stuff. You know what I'm talking about. Anyone new like Daimyo or any of those guys, and I'm not defending the Council of Evil here. They have their fuckery for a reason. But it scares people away. It scares a lot of new people from coming up. And then the people who do manage to keep their shit together and stay away from it tend to be fighting over a diminishing audience. And that is just what happens with this like internal infighting. So Samsara has been disrupted by rooms. Yeah, well, that's why I kind of made the comparison in the Jub the Nub stream about the Kali Yuga of the sector. It's like, in the Kali cycles, each part of the cycle represents a different aspect of creation, flourishing, and destruction. And we've just been stuck in the Kali Yuga part, which is just destruction. And then we haven't re-entered like the creation part. And usually what happens is to bring down, usually, like I said, there's like an insurgent show that coalesces. That's kind of what the idea behind Kino Cartel was. Not just to be about to take down KC or whatever, just talk about stuff in general and to be there when like another mistake happens. But of course, that got dragged down into the fucking sewer, right? Just like I said. I don't think it's like over because there will always be... I guess part of the problem also is just a lot of the things that used to be unique to the sector are mainstream now. And I don't just mean the idea of lolcows. Just like, it's like when I talk about like the sectorization of the left, like the left-tard, like Ethan Hassan Destiny, that shit. That all comes, they're in their golden age. Like if you were part of that community, if you were like, if you were in this like left-tard part, you'd be, and you didn't care about the politics. You're just there for the entertainment, like they should be. You would be eating fucking good right now. Because they're just destroying each other. And it's funny because if you think about it, if you go a couple cycles back, they were the losers of one of the splits. Because if you think about it, one of the big splits was over Trump. So after Gamergate, most of Gamergate was not right or left wing, really. It became perceived that way, but at the time it really wasn't. And then Trump happens, and then there's a split between the pro and anti-Trump people. And in the internet battlefield, Serengeti, the anti-Trump people lost. They lost the zeitgeist. They lost the debate there. And they went off and became their own like little fucking kingdom faction that are now like the left-tard. We're talking Destiny, Ethan, all those guys. And now they're not, I wouldn't say they're culturally ascendant, but because they never got deplatformed from everything, they had their own sort of different line of evolution. And now they're finally getting sectorized. It's why I actually don't blame people for talking about it. I know that there's people who don't like the people in the sector talk about like the mainstream drama, you know, like the Ethan Saw Destiny stuff. I think they should, because all it's doing is pulling more people into the general idea that none of this is that, like, none of the politics is serious, and this is all just talking shit on the internet, which I think is not only the most entertaining, but is probably the most like mentally healthy for anyone to look at it, because you're not going to get politically saved or like through the fucking whatever the sector is going to be. And so both the sectors, so both simultaneously, we're stuck in the Kali Yuga and what we would consider the sector, but in a larger sense, everyone has just been sectorized. Like the whole everything has just been sectorized. I think it's mostly because what made the sector was all the incessant grifters competing for pay pigs, while now hot takes are penalized monetarily, so they all... Yeah, well, a lot of them are just on alternative platforms, too. Shoot, Gamergate wasn't super right-wing till Trump and all the post-Gamergate 2025. Yeah. Like, here's the really quick rundown as where I think the splits were. There was the theist-atheist debates where the atheist won. Let's be real. Back in like 2012, the atheist won. And it's because no one knew what they were talking about. Then a lot of those atheists, then there was the Gamergate debate. And as much as you might think it, they didn't. The pro-Gamergate people, as far as online, won. And so we've had two splits then. And then you have the split over Trump, where the pro-Trump people won. Then the pro-Trump people debated about whether we're liberalists or alt-right, which, you know, is the famous Sargon-Richard debate. Obviously, the alt-right won that. Then it enters into, like, the Groyper arc, where it's like, are we Fuentes or are we just here to talk shit online? Which was represented by Jim in that debate, and that side won. And now we just have the people that are left. And we've been stuck since then. Like, there should have been another split by now. We should have gone around again by now, but we haven't. The good news, though, is, like I said, while we've been stuck in the Kali Yuga, all of those losing factions I just mentioned have sort of caught up. And gone through the same process and are now being, like, sectorized. And it's kind of maybe our new fertile fields for content. And it might mean stomaching some characters who you don't think of as being sector people, but you gotta realize that for a lot of people, the sector is the community of last resort, as they say. Is that when they don't take you anywhere else, they'll let you fight it out here. So as much as I hate guys like Destiny and Hassan and Ethan and like all these people, some of them might end up kind of in the sector one way or the other, right? No, Spencer IRL activism or Fuentes infiltration, and Fuentes won. No, well, in the original debate in like 2021 and 2, Fuentes did not win. He's gotten a lot of like free wins since, but in that particular split, he didn't. I also feel that most of the good ship posters, the old school ones from farms before H. Well, you know, it's interesting you say that because, yeah, I guess so. Like, there is a sense that the farms is less fun now. And it's not just because Josh Sweeps has gotten more neurotic and crazy. Like, that's part of it, for fucking sure. But a lot of it is that the people who were just on the site for fun have been driven off, both by, like, changes in the community and also the commercialization of the entire thing. Not just the farms, but just talking about retards online in general. And all this drama stuff. I mean, the fact that we have a mainstream show run by Keemstar called LOLCal Live is wild, if you think about it. Also, like, a lot of the old shitposters have, like, disavowed it all. I mean, like, Squire's a good example. Everybody talks about how great the faith doxing was. I know that post is great. Like, the Squire Gothos, that post is great. He was he posted on the farms. He was whatever, and he sort of rode away into this. He didn't. That's what Mikey No More said, or not Mikey No More. That's what who was it? Someone said that recently, which was obviously not true. They were trying to not talk about how, it was on KC, actually. They did some revisionist history, obviously, to people who wouldn't know any better. I wish I could pull this clip up, but there's just so much fucking bullshit, right? But PDP specifically said, Squire Gothos dropped the Faith Vickers docs and then rode away into the sunset, and then nothing else happened. Actually, I remember hold on, let me pull this up for you guys. And I can just search the transcript because I know where it is. Okay, where is it? Oh, it must have been... It's when they went over the Mikey No More documentary, which I don't think they posted yet. Because I clicked on their stream the other night after I was finished streaming to see if they had even started their topics yet, and they were talking about it. And PPP just straight up lied. He said, Yeah, Squire just posted his Faith Vickers thing and then rode off into the sunset, which obviously isn't true. Squire kept doing stuff with Jubb and all those other guys. But yeah, a lot of those guys got just sort of burned out by it. Is IDubbbz officially sector? Yeah, kind of. I mean, think about it. Like, politics has been sectorized. Like, there was a point where Nick Fuentes sat down at a Thanksgiving dinner with Trump, and it was at a time when he was like, Ralph was with him, like, directly and regularly talking, which means we were one step of separation between the President of the United States and the sector. The sector feels like IBS post-apocalypse. Yeah, but IBS is still happening. It's like not less... we haven't, on the leftard stuff, it's still... And I don't mean, like, the sewer stuff is not... I wouldn't... That's whatever. I mean, like, on the left side of things, they're getting there. Like, I mean, we had that full-on debate between Hassan and Ethan. It was kind of gay. I mean, I went over it. I have the full coverage of it. But I think we're going to get more of those. And IDubbbz especially, there's some clips of him where I think he's starting to realize what the score is. And that as bad as it will make him look, he's gonna start. he might be getting involved a little more. He's starting to, like, come to the same conclusions everybody else did years ago. We're in the Jin Dynasty post-Wei, and the barbarians are picking at the sector while the War of the Eight Princes rages on. Yeah, well, that could be true. When do you think the Tang is going to hit? When is the Middle Kingdom going to be restored?